Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Will tight end Travis Kelce be back in Kansas City in 2025? He's not ready to officially make that call just yet. In the latest New Heights podcast, Kelce said he'll take some time before making a decision on his future and whether he'll play a 13th NFL season. The 35-year-old, in the week leading up to the Super Bowl, repeatedly said he planned to play in 2025. Tonight's NBA doubleheader tips off with the Spurs visiting the Celtics, 7 Eastern ESPN, followed by Warriors Mavericks. Golden State's 2-0 since acquiring Jimmy Butler, who's settling in quite nicely with his new team, notes Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr.
The off-ball movement that he's been doing with that team, getting the ball from Draymond, has been miraculous. He's getting to the free throw line. Most importantly, in the minutes that Stephen Curry has not played, they've been a +6. And Jimmy Butler gets in the game, gets to the free throw line, and stabilizes that team without Stephen Curry, which allows him to go into those third and fourth quarter flurries that make him so dangerous.
Ohio State's finalizing a deal to hire former Lions coach and Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia as their new DC.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Thursday as the NBA heads towards the All-Star break, I'll tell you how many teams are actually title contenders. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. On the road again. We are in Houston, Texas today, downtown Houston at Tom's Watch Bar. Sweet spot. First time I've ever been here. But we're here for an LSU Alumni Association gathering, cool networking event. It is LSU night for the Houston Rockets, welcoming in Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns one night after Kevin Durant scores his 30,000th point. Of course, we missed that by one night. But in any event, going to be really cool. Sort of a pre-event here at Tom's. We'll go over to the game. They've got pre-game shoot-around passes for the LSU alumni folks. If you're in Houston, know someone who wants to be a part of that. I believe the code, if you go to the Rockets to buy tickets, I believe the promo code is LSU alum. You can get it. It's all on our social media. Check it out there. We'll look to see a lot of y'all hanging out at the Rockets game tonight. So if you're in the Houston area or know someone who is, let them know that we'll be here hanging out. We got a ton to do today. Former Tiger great Jared Mitchell will be here with us on site. He's actually sitting right there. Colin Jeter, former Tiger tight end, will be here on site with us as well. Brooks Kubena in about 15 minutes, who spent the last year covering Kellen Moore and the Philadelphia Eagles. All that coming up, but let us begin as we do every single day.
Time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Kellen Moore and his family got their first glimpse of the New Orleans Saints facility on Tuesday. Of course, it was Monday when Moore was introduced, or excuse me, on Tuesday that Moore was introduced as the new head coach. Here today on Wednesday, Kellen Moore and his family got to tour the facility, take in all the sights, as it were, there on Airline Drive. And now the work really begins. Kellen Moore will be introduced to the media 11:30 a.m. on Thursday at his introductory press conference. And we'll start to get a sense of how what Kellen Moore's vision is to build this roster, to build the organization, and what those conversations were like with Mickey Loomis and Gail Benson about the process to do just that. And while obviously the first few things that have to happen are he's got to build a staff, and we've already talked about some of those names, right? Doug Nussmeier possibly as an OC, Brandon Staley, a popular name for DC. We've talked about some of those names already, and more will come out. The second biggest question, of course, is quarterback. Do you bring back Derek Carr for another year? Delay your full reset a bit longer? Or do you move on now, take a big cap savings this year, decide what you're going to do moving forward? But then after that, you're going to have even more difficult decisions with popular veteran players. And, that is going to be challenging for the organization and emotionally challenging for Saints fans. For example, Ian Rappaport from NFL Media was on the Insiders on Wednesday and effectively was asked how the Saints can improve their offense, and one of the players he mentioned that probably is done in New Orleans is Taysom Hill.
So much of it revolves around the quarterback position, how they get this offense to function as efficiently as the Philadelphia Eagles did. One great way to do it is just to get a lot better players. I mean, the Saints offensive line, I know they've tried to rebuild through the draft. There's been some missteps there and some players who have flashed potential but not done it consistently. Certainly at the receiver position, they have some weapons. Not a lot of depth, but they have some weapons. They have a decision coming on Taysom Hill. Hard to imagine he'd be back in in New Orleans, but I guess anything is possible. But yeah, what do they do with Derek Carr? Do they keep him and he's their starter, or do they release him knowing it doesn't actually really help financially this year? They might just want to move on, and he might just want to move on. A lot on his plate, but yes, the right hire at the right time for the Saints. A young coach who's going to need some time to get this right.
So he's not entirely correct there, because they could release Derek Carr, designate it as a post-June 1 release, and you would get cap savings this year. But again, then you'd kick money into future years with Derek Carr if you did it that way. So, for example, post-June 1 release would save you $30 million against the cap this year. So it is possible that you would save money, but then you'd carry with Derek Carr, a $21 million dead cap number this year and $28 million next year. So effectively, listen, you're going to feel the brunt of it. Like, there's no avoiding it. It's, do you want it all at once? Do you want to spread it out over 2 years is really the question that they're going to have to answer. But the Taysom Hill piece of it all is interesting as well, because I'm not sure this is something that collectively Saints fans have prepared themselves for, is being done with Taysom Hill. So when you look at cap numbers for the New Orleans Saints next year, and look, we've spent the last 3 months having the who's going to be the next coach conversation. Now that that's done, it's, okay, how do you start to rebuild this roster conversation? And that's where this all moves on to from here. The most expensive player against the cap next year is Derek Carr, followed by Cameron Jordan, and then Taysom Hill. $18.2 million is Taysom Hill's cap hit. So we just mentioned it with Derek Carr. The same is true for Taysom Hill. You could cut Taysom Hill with a post-June 1st designation, and it would save you $10 million against the cap in 2025. Again, he's got an $18.2 million cap hit. If you cut him with a post-June 1 designation, that saves you $10 million. So his cap hit this year would be 7.9. Next year would be 9.7. So you'd eat it for 2 years with no Taysom Hill, and he's still counting against your cap. But it would save you $10 million this year, which would get you within cap compliance. Again, you're $51 million over the cap. So you're going to have to do this. Again, the only way that you're going to fix all this debt Just think about it in terms of your life. If you got student loan debt, or I sound like Dave Ramsey now, or you got credit card debt, whatever, there's only two ways that you're going to get out of debt. You're going to make more money, and you're going to spend less money. I mean, that's the way to do it. So it's like the cap keeps going up, so you're going to keep having a higher cap number, and then you're not going to give bad contracts, so you're going to be able to start hammering out that debt. Well, Taysom Hill and Derek Carr and all these guys, that's debt on your roster. You got to get rid of them all. Cam Jordan, you got to get rid of all that so you can start to be within cap compliance and operate with a surplus so you can go spend in free agency. Like, I'm not an economics major, but this is easy math to do and how it all works out and the way they're going to go. They were willing to buy on credit for years to give Drew Brees a chance to win a Super Bowl. Well, guess what? Now the credit card companies are calling because the debt is due. And there ain't no way around it. You got to pay it. So the interesting thing about Taysom Hill is he's coming off a devastating knee injury, suffered in December. He's probably not even going to be ready to play for you until October. And that's not even to say he'd be full strength, full speed, 100% Taysom Hill in October. That's when he'd likely be back on the field. So is it worth carrying an $18 million cap hit for Taysom Hill this year for a guy that probably won't even compete for you for the first month and a half, 2 months of the season? And this is also a guy that's going to be going into his age 35 season. Remember, Taysom Hill, he'll be 35 in August. This is a guy who's been in the NFL since 2018, and while his career by years hasn't been supremely long, seven NFL seasons, he's older because he's went to BYU. He's a Mormon, went on his LDS mission, and so he's older. So you got a 35-year-old guy coming off a terrible knee injury. Do you really want to have that wrapped up into him? And look, Taysom Hill was very good this year. Each of the last 3 years, he's averaged 8 yards a carry. 8.6, 8.8, 8.1. Like, he's still a very productive player when he's been on the field for you, but he's coming off a knee injury. He's 35 years old. He's expensive. These are the types of decisions that you're going to have to make. And you heard Ian Rappaport say it there. Hard to imagine Taysom Hill's back next year. So that's another one you need to start wrapping your head around that could be gone. The other thing I'll factor in, too, is we don't know what Kellen Moore's offensive vision would be for a guy like Taysom Hill. Now, it is fair to mention, when Sean Payton called plays, he made it work with Taysom Hill. When Pete Carmichael called plays, he made it work with Taysom Hill. When Glenn Kubiak called plays, he made it work with Taysom Hill. When you have a guy that's that versatile, you can be creative with him, and he's going to find a role within your offense. So I have no doubt that Kellen Moore could do the same thing. However, it is fair to mention that it's a new head coach, a new scheme, a new system, maybe a new quarterback. How would it all work together, and is it worth $18 million next year? So just start to wrap your head around this thought that guys like Taysom Hill, some veteran players who have been core pieces of this franchise for a long time now, probably aren't going to be back for cap saving purposes, and also as Kellen Moore starts to build this roster in the image and idea of what he wants it to be. But we'll get a much better sense of what that vision is when Kellen Moore meets with reporters on Thursday. All right, our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Really cool, y'all. The guys on the cul-de-sac spot from the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning with the fanny pack and Post Malone and Shane Gillis was the 7th highest rated spot on the USA Today ad meter. And I'm pretty excited, man, because they're actually going to be doing a lot of stuff with that. I've been told with that ad campaign. So funny stuff and good stuff. We're pleased to tell you more. Of course, if you're at LSU basketball or heading out to the box this weekend, make sure you got plenty of ice cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR and the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Okay, y'all, we're here at Tom's Watch Bar, downtown Houston, fired up to be here. We got a ton to do. We will have Colin Jeter, now with the LSU Alumni Association, former LSU tight end, Jared Mitchell, former Tiger great as well, national champ in 2 sports. He's here. He'll be with us in a bit as well. A lot to do, but when we come back, we're going to head up to Philly. Our buddy Brooks Kubena, formerly of The Advocate, formerly of the Houston Chronicle as well, now covering the Philadelphia Eagles for The Athletic, just covered a Super Bowl championship team, covered Kellen Moore. We'll get the Eagles' perspective of Kellen Moore from Brooks Kubena when we return. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're looking to hire people and you're struggling to find the right people, Glow Resources can help. Check them out online, glowresources.com. I'm Matt, but I live in Houston. No worries. Met him in Miami. It's okay. Met him in Austin. Perfect. Glow Resources, their corporate headquarters is in Baton Rouge, but they've got offices all over the country, and they help businesses place employees and jobs all over the world. Jareth was telling me recently they had a company that was based out of Texas that hired an employee in California to do a job in India. It's crazy. So there's no limit to the scope of how Glow Resources can help. So if you need to find the right people, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They're complete employer solutions. Check them out online. Again, no matter where your business is located, Glow Resources can help, and they guarantee they'll get it right. GLO, glowresources.com. Glow Resources, complete employer solutions.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We'll meet Kellen Moore on Thursday when he's introduced to the media. A guy who already knows him, Brooks Kubena, spent this year covering the Eagles for The Athletic. You can get him on Twitter, X, at @BKubena. Of course, was previously at The Advocate. Worked right here in Houston, where we are today, now in Philly. Brooks, good to chat, man. How are you?
Man, I've been sleeping on and off for the last 36 hours, so you caught me while I'm cognizant.
Glad to hear that, man. That's, I guess, our gain. We timed this out pretty well. Hey, give me a reaction to, like, first thought, Kellen Moore taking the Saints job. First reaction.
Yeah, I mean, this is expected. The Saints were holding out to get a chance to interview him, and by that point, he was their top choice. And by last week, it was a given that he was going there. So it's interesting. for him to get in there, be a head coach after 3 times as an offensive coordinator, it's his time. Just navigated just an excellent offense and really a different way of doing it in his career. Obviously, the talent pool will be different. There's a different expectation for this team immediately, but Kellen Moore's earned the opportunity. It'll be interesting to see.
Tell us about, 1 year there, but tell us about Kellen Moore. Like, if someone asked you to describe him personally, professionally, what do you say?
Yeah, he's not going to hit a bunch of decibels when he talks, but that doesn't mean he's quiet. During the times that we've gotten a chance to interact, he's not someone in weeks to weeks that will delve deeply into his scheme, but you can tell he understands it. But behind the scenes, when you get a chance to hear about him from players, whenever they played the Cowboys for the first time, I did a deeper story talking to pretty much every assistant coach who had either coached him with the Cowboys or coached with him with the Cowboys. And the thing that I was really trying to figure out, kind of helps towards understanding as a head coach, is, well, what kind of coach is he? How does he motivate? How does he connect with players? And the thing that kept coming out was he's not the guy that's going to stand in the middle and give a big speech. How he connects to a player is going up to him and saying, hey, what do you want to run? Like, what do you like? What works for you? And by getting them invested in the play and what's happening on the field, gets them excited to be a part of it. That stems back to his Boise State days, drawing up trick plays and the like, just having fun playing football. And that showed in the way that they played throughout this year. They ran the ball more than any Eagles team has since 1978. And that's only because in a meaningless Week 18 game, they chucked the ball, else it'd been 1951. That is definitely not Kellen Moore. And it made moot any study I did in the offseason what he did with the Cowboys. But they didn't have Saquon Barkley or this offensive line or, by week 4, this was a team still trying to figure itself out offensively. And then, again, Moore, someone who goes to his players and listens, this wasn't just happening in direct relation to Kellen Moore. It's happening to the whole coaching staff. But guys like Lane Johnson, the right tackle, and Landon Dickerson, the left guard, were speaking up. Why are we not handing the ball to Saquon as much? Why are we not running the ball? We need to run the ball. And coming out of that bye week, they leaned really heavily into it. And a lot of that had to do with what Moore was able to do throughout that time and finding spots where Barkley fit and where the passing game fit. It was different week to week. So, that's the main gist of what Moore showed throughout the year and his growth as a coach, and I think really why he earns a head coach opportunity at this point.
Yeah, Brooks Kubena is our guest. It's funny when you look back at how the season started for the Eagles at 2-2, and Sirianni's jawing with fans, and you think about how it ends, that feels like a completely different reality. But how much of that about face do you credit with Kellen Moore?
Well, I don't know how much I'd put it. I'll just say it was not an easy position to jump into. From the collapse of 2023 coming in, and Nick Sirianni, who had just been to the Super Bowl beforehand, there was a quote he said immediately after that first Super Bowl loss, and it was he promoted Brian Johnson and basically said, we're doing everything the same. This offense is going to be the same. It's what got us to the Super Bowl. The way we run zone reads are going to be the same. The way we do our passing is going to be the same. Just because they lost Shane Steichen to the Colts wouldn't mean that their offense was going to look any different. Well, by the end of the season, defenses had figured them out. The San Francisco 49ers thrashed them, and Bosa came out and said, "We've got the playbook. We put out the blueprint for everyone else," and they leaned into it. So, Nick Sirianni was humbled a bit by that, and also still felt very certain that he knew what he was doing offensively. There were a lot of things that they did well. So, the offensive coordinator that came in was going to have to deal with a collaboration setting. It was not going to be somebody who needed to be a hothead and step their foot down and have a lot of ego. That kind of clash was not going to work. And Kellen Moore, he doesn't give in. I'm not saying falls into it, but he knows how to work with people and collaborate and come up with different ideas even than he'd done. So that whole offseason, I was talking to Kevin Patullo, the passing game coordinator, about Kellen, and basically they were like, it was like a month or two of a coaching clinic. They just sat there and said, here's what I've learned. What do you know? What do you think? And that was before they even got Saquon Barkley. And then they added him to the equation, and they said, well, what can we do? I remember talking to Nick Sirianni about that. He was like, well, I remember we were checking through all the things that we were talking about. And you're like, all right, what can work here? What can work here? Really not much. There's not much Saquon Barkley can't do. Yeah. So really opening up the playbook at that point, it took a certain kind of person to do that. And 3 years ago, when before they hired Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore actually interviewed for the head coaching position. And Jeffrey Lurie remembered that the other day as we were talking to him. He said, I mean, just an incredibly nice guy, knew that about him, and lamented, the night before he left with the Saints, was like, yeah, we're going to be losing him, but it's a great coach at a great time. So everybody felt that way about him. So, going into the Saints situation where there's going to be some tough things to happen, a patient person who's going to be able to work through all that, those are things that are part of his personality that really fit well for the situation, I think.
Brooks, you mentioned Kevin Patullo, by the way. That's one of the names we've heard that could be joining Kellen Moore in New Orleans. We've heard Doug Nussmeier as well. Any scuttle from your side of the equation, assistants who Kellen Moore might be interested in bringing to New Orleans?
I think he'll only get two. I think he'll get Doug Nussmeier to come with him, and then also Carvalhido. Those were the two that he brought with him from the Chargers. And, I've talked to Nick Sirianni about this sometimes, and he said it on the record too. Like, he is very encouraging for all of his coaches to go get head coaching jobs. But once they do, you're not taking any of my guys. He locks down his staff. That's something that he carried over from working with Frank Reich. Frank Reich had the same deal. Support, go get you a job, but these are my guys. This is the success we've had. So I don't think he's going to get anybody that was a part of the staff before he got there. I think Nussmeier has been his guy, and I think Sirianni will realize that. And Kevin Patullo has been Sirianni's guy back to the Colts days together, even before that. So Kevin Patullo, I think, is going to be in line to be the offensive coordinator. That brings up another conversation, but that would mean there's two other positions left on the offensive staff for Sirianni to fill. I think for in terms of what the Saints are concerned about, Kellen Moore's been working in the business for a decade now, 3 different places, 3 different teams. Just because he's not taking more than 2 guys off the Eagles staff does not mean he doesn't have a major Rolodex that he can go call up people. And again, this is not going to be the same offensive system he runs. So it's not like they're going to go and, run the ball a bunch of times, or maybe they do, or different ways. So the system that they'll run, he'll be thinking about that as he dives into all the contacts that he's built over the past decade.
Yeah, he doesn't get to take Saquon or A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or any of those guys, does he? I mean, that would probably help.
I don't think that's in the contract, but that would be a good deal for him.
But that is a big part of it, though, Brooks. Like, how much of the success that, like, this is the balance, right? How much of the success that the Eagles had this year was Kellen Moore? How much of it was, oh, my God, look at all the talent? Like, balance that scale for me.
Well, it's tough. It's tough to separate it. I mean, Saquon Barkley is obviously the greatest running back the Eagles have ever had. So what you wonder about when you look at it, you try to piece it apart, is like, okay, well, what happens whenever this gets taken away? Barkley did not have a big game against the Chiefs.
Right.
They decided they were going to take him out of the game. And I was expecting if that to happen, what would happen with Jalen Hurts? Is he going to be a dual threat runner? Are they going to try to get him going in the zone read? Even whenever Barkley was taken away, I saw things that Kellen Moore had not done all year, running fullback packages and trying to get Barkley in the flats. Those were gaining like 4 or 5 yard chunks. But that was things, just get the ball to Barkley in space. That's Kellen Moore when I see that. You look at the game like the Cleveland Browns in Week 6 when they were still trying to figure things out offensively. So that was another game that Saquon Barkley was not doing very well. But what did work? Well, they were playing a lot of man coverage, a lot of matching on that. And whenever you see a major play, Devontae Smith on a mesh route, basically a pick route in the open field, there he goes for a 45-yard touchdown, the consequential score that wins them the game. That's Kellen Moore. So, like, it's a cliche to hear coaches say, well, you players make plays and you got to fit the scheme to the players. But that's, those examples are where that becomes reality. And yes, they have an incredibly great roster. And, I'm thinking back to the times we talked about LSU when Joe Brady was there and all the first-round picks that came out of that team. Well, what do you do after that? So, it's always going to be different. I don't expect them to have, obviously, Super Bowl success in the first season with Moore, but you've seen him make multiple different things happen with the guys he's got. And, this is a team that's going to have assets, maybe not this year, but in the future years. And, it's not going to be I don't think it'll be a one-and-done situation with Kellen Moore, not with this kind of expectation. But I think you've seen a lot of creativity from him. He doesn't lack that.
He's Brooks Kubena covering the Eagles now for The Athletic. Y'all get him on X at @BKubena, of course, formerly of The Advocate. We got to know him during his time in Baton Rouge. Follow him there on Twitter. Hey, man, great to chat. Sorry I missed you in NOLA last week, man, but glad you're doing well, and we appreciate a couple of minutes today.
Hey, same goes. Anytime.
Okay, bud. We'll see you. We're brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. Made that mistake, man. Forgot to load up the car before I got on the road today from Baton Rouge with Evermore. So stopped at a gas station, needed to wet my whistle. There was no Evermore. You know what I need to do? I need to call on all those truck stops throughout southeast Texas. Get you some Evermore, man. What are y'all doing? Truck stops in southeast Texas. It's a better form of hydration. It's a natural artesian water. It's a Louisiana product with national distribution. You can find locations, great retailers near you at evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. We're here at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston. Excited to be here, man. The LSU Alumni Association has LSU night with the Houston Rockets. We got a great partnership with the Alumni Association, so excited to be here. And I've told you before, man, our single biggest audience outside of Louisiana is Houston and then Dallas. Just giant alumni bases. The largest LSU alumni base outside of Louisiana is Houston. So we had a chance to come here and network and mingle with LSU alums, and obviously people who are maybe listeners to the station. We appreciate it greatly. So we're glad to be here at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston, just steps from the Toyota Center. So we'll head over to the Rockets and Suns tonight. Looking forward to catching a little NBA action. Can both teams lose? Hate to say it that way. I mean, I'm certainly not a Rockets fan or a Suns fan, but still get to see Tari Eason tonight, which would be really cool, and get to hang out with a lot of LSU alums here in Houston. So if you're in Houston or know someone who is, let them know we're here at Tom's Watch Bar until 6, and then we're heading over to the Toyota Center for the game tonight. All right, it's After Further Review. Our Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, YourGoodwood.com. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back and go around the SEC. And speaking of Houston, it's apropos that we're here. We have updated odds on Alex Bregman's next destination. Hunt Palmer will be very, very excited about this. We'll talk about that next. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all, it is time to get in the garden and to just plant something. I was chatting earlier this week before I came over here to Houston with Miss Teresa over at Clegg's, and it's kind of crazy. Like every day they have new shipments arriving of plants and flowers and trees and shrubs. And you might think, well, Matt, it's kind of nasty outside. Well, there are plants and flowers and trees and different things like that love cool weather. Actually, if you're thinking of planting like a citrus tree or shrubs or bushes or things like that, like this is the time to get them in the ground. Also, if you want that spring vegetable garden, over at Clegg's, they've got Johnny Naylor's seeds. So this is the time to get those seeds in the ground. It's a great family project as well. You want to get the kiddos involved. Awesome opportunity to do it, and nobody's got a better selection than Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. They've been around for more than 60 years. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport.
That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Fitting that we're here in Houston, downtown Houston, not far at all from formerly Minute Maid. What do they call that thing now that used to be the juice box? What do they rename it?
I'm actually not. It starts with a D. I don't know how to pronounce it, though. I saw him putting the signs up the other day.
Dakin?
That sounds right.
That sounds right. D-A-I-K-I-N. Dakin Park, I don't know, whatever. I passed right by it today, driving here into downtown. Candidly, the juice box is a really cool nickname. Like the blender with the Smoothie King Center, the juice box when it was Minute Maid. I mean, that's kind of cool. Dakin or Daikin or whatever you call it. Not quite as cool. But anyway, that, of course, is where Alex Bregman's played his entire career, and it appears as though his time in Houston as an Astro is up. The big question is, where is he going to land? I mean, Bregman is the most notable unsigned free agent right now, and it looked like he wasn't going to be back with the Astros and then didn't initially land anywhere in that first wave. And then Jose Altuve made the plea to the Astros, even said he'd move to the outfield if it meant getting Bregman back with the Astros. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen right now. For whatever it's worth, our friends over at BetOnline have released their updated odds on the next team for Alex Bregman. The betting favorite right now with even money odds is the Chicago Cubs. Next, the Detroit Tigers, and then Muse's Boston Red Sox. The Tigers at plus 175, the Red Sox at plus 250. What that means is if you bet 100 for the Tigers at plus 175, you bet 100, you'd win 175. With the Astros, you bet 100, you'd win 250. So, but even money on the Cubs. So, looks like the Cubs are the favorite, followed by the Tigers, Red Sox, and then you get into some longer odds. Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, Nats, Blue Jays, Mariners, Braves, Royals, Mets are the teams listed there. No odds on the Astros, but I guess that's always a possibility. But, like, for example, our buddy Chandler Rome, Calici, LSU, who has covered the Astros for many years now for the Chronicle, now with the Athletic. I was chatting with Chandler earlier. He doesn't seem to think that Bregman's back with the Astros. You never say never what could transpire in all these conversations and how it could work out. But looks like Bregman's time here in Houston is done, and the Cubs right now are the betting favorite. Muse, what if Bregman went to the Red Sox? Would you love that?
I mean, yeah, of course I would love that. I don't see that happening in really any world. I don't care what their odds are. The conversation seemed to have really cooled off there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any insight whatsoever. Like, I'm not calling Alex and asking him where he's going to sign. I don't think he would tell me anyway. But I asked Chandler, and his feeling was probably Detroit or Boston. He didn't say Cubs, but Cubs right now are the betting favorite. So we'll keep an eye on it. Again, we're here in downtown Houston. Bregman, of course, played at the old Juice Box, and steps away Tari Eason at Toyota Center starring role for the Houston Rockets, which is cool to see. The former first-rounder will be over there tonight. Rockets Suns, get to watch Kevin Durant. It's LSU night at the Toyota Center tonight for the Rockets game. And that's why we're here. We've got a great partnership with the LSU Alumni Association. So we're here at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston. Really great spot. First time I've ever been here. I don't know how old this place is, but great spot. I mean, TVs everywhere. Long, wraparound bar. Cool menu, all that stuff. So if you're in downtown Houston, you're in Houston, want to come hang out, you can. But if you want to go to the game tonight, just as an FYI, when you go to rockets.com/promo code, the code is LSU alum, LSU ALUM. It gets you access to the pregame shoot-around at 5:45, and then they've reserved one of the bars in the arena specifically for the LSU alumni group, and for a networking event for an hour before tip, and then we'll go watch the game. So if you're in Houston or know someone who is interested in going, use the promo code LSU alum when you get tickets at rockets.com/promo code. Of course, support our friends at the LSU Alumni Association. All right, y'all, brought to you by Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. We'll go around the SEC in just a second, but remember, windows, doors, siding, oh yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Nobody does it better than Brandon Holly, Adrian Holly, and Relief Windows. You know, windows are a commodity. There's a lot of different places that'll sell you a window or a door or siding. The difference is, and it's why Brandon always says it, at Relief Windows, their real product is customer satisfaction. They want to make sure you're thrilled, and they'll go to the end of the earth to make sure that you're thrilled. Brandon's told me before, he's like, I'd spend my last dollar to make sure a customer is happy because it's all about your name and your reputation. And when you hear Brandon talk about it and then you experience it, it's not lip service. That's legitimately, genuinely who he is as a person. That's the values that have just emanated throughout that entire company. So you're going to have an amazing experience. They're going to do right by you. They're going to give you the best windows at a fair price with exceptional work and a true lifetime transferable warranty. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, Muse, hit it around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
Texas A&M!
Four-star tight end, class of 2026, Xavier Tiller has decommitted from Texas A&M, been pledged to the Aggies since November, but didn't really stop him from taking visits since pledging to the Aggies in November. He has visited Auburn and Florida State. Ole Miss, Alabama, and Louisville also have been the programs pushing hardest to get him on campus for a visit. Of course, they're in a dead period now, but the recruitment for Xavier Tiller is reopened.
The Florida Gators.
Well, Florida's basketball team has dealt with a rash of injuries, and they got dealt a big blow on Tuesday night against Mississippi State. Alex Condon, their center, suffered an injury to his ankle in the opening minute of the game. He would not return. Condon was attempting to secure a rebound, and he came down awkwardly on his right ankle, was not able to put any weight on it. He's the team's leading rebounder. Unknown how long he will be out for Florida.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee baseball. Their latest transfer, Alberto Osuna, has filed a complaint against the NCAA over his eligibility. He did that, of course, in a court in Tennessee, according to 247 Sports. Played the previous 3 seasons at North Carolina. You'll remember, ran out of D1 eligibility, transferred to a D2 school, and then transferred to Tennessee with the expectation that he would be able to gain some eligibility back with Diego Pavia rule. He spent 2 years in junior college at Walters State. But as of Wednesday morning, Tony Vitello said that Osuna is still not cleared by the NCAA.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And one more baseball note here. Arkansas has announced their starting rotation for opening weekend. They face Washington State in a 4-game series. Sophomore righty Gabe Gackle will start on Friday. Zach Root, lefty, to go game 2. Gage Wood, a righty, to go game 3. And Landon Beidelsheis to go game 4. Gackle, of course, served as the Hogs' closer, freshman All-American a season ago. Wood also out of the bullpen. Root and Beidelsheis transfers from East Carolina and Ohio State, respectfully. There you have it. That is around the SEC.
Respectively,
yeah.
Respectfully, Respectfully, Muse. It's respectively. Thank you, Muse. Appreciate that. Muse back in studio. If you're wondering, whenever I'm on location, when I speak, Muse has to turn, or when he speaks, he has to turn my volume down. Otherwise, you'd hear an echo. So he's good enough to handle things like around the SEC, Tigers, the Pros, all that stuff when we're on location. So appreciate that. Muse and Paulie are back in studio. Bo Wegman's here with me on site in Houston. And we're rolling through hour number 1 presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Again, yourgoodwood.com. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Gents, learn about hormone replacement therapy, ED treatments. Not that they have the oral medication, but other options as well if that hasn't worked for you in the past. yourgoodwood.com. Check it out. Okay, let's not get a break. Come back, wrap up hour number 1. Taylor Calandro will be here for a little Bourbon Dictionary. Get your booze questions in. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Jared Mitchell, Colin Jeter on site with us still ahead. Ton to do and glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, do what injured people in our state have done for more than 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Yes. You see Gordon on billboards and commercials, standing on top of a truck, and yes, you see that a lot of times because Gordon handles a lot of big truck wrecks, handles a lot of car wrecks, but it's not just big truck and car wrecks. Personal injury, maritime, workers' comp, wrongful death, slip and fall, Social Security disability, explosions, fire injuries, motorcycle accidents, so many different types. Effectively, like I say it all the time, if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, Gordon and his team will aggressively represent you to make sure you get everything you're entitled to. So go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. They're the gang with the slang.
Keep it 100. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
I don't understand.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. We are here in downtown Houston at Tom's Watch Bar. If you're a Houston Tiger, know someone who is, man, y'all come hang out. Then it's LSU Alumni Night at the Toyota Center for Rockets and Suns. We'll be over there and looking forward to it. Taylor Calandro joins us, so get your booze questions in. Email us, tweet us, or text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Yo, dude, how are you?
Good, Matt. My sister is a Houston Tiger. She lives in Houston.
Tell her to come by, man. We're downtown at Tom's Watch Bar. Great spot. First time I've ever been here. Cool menu. Great bar scene. Tons of TVs everywhere. LSU alum. Like, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They just opened at 3, so people are kind of starting to trickle in after work. So I'd imagine as the afternoon goes on, it'll build, and then we're all going to walk over to Toyota Center for the game. So tell her to come hang out, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's always start? What's new? Anything new?
We got a new one from Whistle Pig, actually. It's a 10-year bourbon. It's called Snout to Tail. Yeah. I haven't got to try it. It is 88 proof, which is a little low on the proofage for me. But the reviews I've read are good, so I'm kind of anxious to try it. I like their piggyback bourbon, which is a 6-year. So it is the first time they've done a double-digit whiskey that I'm aware of, bourbon. So it's usually a bunch of rye.
Yeah, man. I didn't even realize piggyback was a bourbon. I thought that was or I figured everything Whistle Pig did was a rye. I didn't know they did.
So there's piggyback bourbon and there's piggyback rye. They're both 6-year, but and the bottles look very similar to each other. It's hard to distinguish the two on the shelf, sort of. I mean, they're two. They look very much alike, but yeah, they do have a 6-year bourbon. So.
Hey, we're here in downtown Houston, and in honor of being in Texas. Favorite Texas whiskeys?
I mean, I love Still Austin. Still Austin does a lot of stuff that is grain to glass, just in Texas, basically. And they have stuff that's fairly reasonably priced too. Garrison Brothers is okay. Yeah, their stuff tends to be a little higher priced. And Matt doesn't like Garrison Brothers, but I mean, I've had some stuff from Garrison Brothers that I do like.
It's fine. It's fine. It's just horribly overpriced.
Yeah,
there's
problem. A bunch of really good breweries. Tito's is in Texas, but there's a bunch of really good breweries in Houston.
Yeah.
I love drinking at St. Arnold. That's a cool place to drink if you've never been there. Really cool outside area. Spindle Tap's really good. There's so many good breweries in Houston. But there's a bunch of good distilleries all across Texas.
Spindle Tap is a Texas brewery?
Houston, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And they're one of my favorite Texas breweries. They have a lot of similarities to Parrish here in Louisiana.
Okay.
Really good IPAs, and they kind of branch off a little bit, but really, really good IPAs.
I'll tell you, businesses with the name Parrish, awesome.
Yeah.
Be it beer, be it roofs, Parrish Construction and Roofing, Parrish Restoration. Parrish, can't go wrong with Parrish. It's a great title, great name, Parrish.
You and Parrish Beer should do a beer collab, and your roofers should drink the beer before they get on top of
Okay,
the
no, we're not going to do that. Liability is an issue. However, we have talked about doing a beer collab, like we would love to do a beer collab where maybe like we, after completing a job, we gifted like our Parrish collab beer to our customers or something like that. I mean, I know you know the Parrish guys, so maybe you could hook that up for us.
I could talk to the higher ups over there, I think.
Tell them.
I got a direct line.
Tell them we're interested, and I would actually love to talk about what that would entitle, like if they would brew for us a Parrish beer. That would be awesome. A Parrish and Parrish collab would be great.
Yeah, I can pull some strings, I think.
Okay. All right, let's get to your questions. Email us, tweet us, text 225-396-4400, 888-396-4400. That's how you can text the show. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Trent said, ask Taylor, any Eagle Rare in stock? If not, do you anticipate getting any?
Well, we don't have any Eagle Rare right now. Eagle Rare has been very rare, actually. As far as all of the allocated stuff, that's been the most, like, as far as the allocated stuff that we get somewhat on a regular basis, Eagle Rare has been the most sparing. So I don't have an answer to that question. No.
Why? It seems like also, Taylor, like all the Wellers this year were late to arrive or were sparse in their supply. Why is that?
I don't know why. Why the supply was sparse. I do know, and I do feel like that a lot of the Sazerac allocation has just gone straight to computer, and as far as how they allocate, and the stuff's just kind of getting spread out further and thinner. So that's why people are having a harder time finding it. That's my theory. I really don't know, though.
Okay. Greg Lehman asked Taylor, what's the profit margin on king cakes?
Profit margin on king cakes, it's a good profit margin.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's dough and sugar.
All baked goods are generally pretty good margins. I'm just going to say that.
Let's see, Rosie.
But they, yep. I mean, but king cakes do require a lot of labor and all that stuff. So,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Rosie, I like gin. My friend likes rum. What's a good mid-price gin or rum? I know you can answer the rum question.
I mean, I can answer the gin. I love Nolet's gin. I've talked about it on the show before. It's from the Kettle One family. It's got a citrusy, a lot of citrus going on, which I like. I don't like super bitter gin. So, and for a rum, I would suggest like one of my favorite rums, and a lot of people don't like it because it's really sweet, is Diplomatico. It's like $40-$50.
Taylor Calandro from Calandro's joins us here on Wednesdays on Whiskey Wednesday. So it's always good to answer some booze questions. We appreciate it, man. Have a great rest of your week. Talk next week.
All right, man. Thanks.
See you, man. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Remember, name brand tires at wholesale prices. And, of course, they always treat you like family over at Shaw Bills. Always ask about the Shaw Bills credit card. It's VIP pricing, and you can pay for it over 6 months with no interest when you use the Shaw Bills credit card. ShawBillsTire.com. It's basically a credit card for your vehicle. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, more than 50 years. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We're here at Tom's Watch Bar, downtown Houston, for the LSU with the LSU Alumni Association. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Quick reminder about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Hey, if you weigh or measure something at Michelli, they sell, service, and rent the products you use to weigh and measure. I love their slogan. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. So many people know, if you're in the industry, Michelli, our nation's largest distributor of scales. There's no business in the country that distributes more scales than Michelli, which is based in Harahan, Louisiana, been in business for more than 75 years, family-owned and operated. But they do so much more as well. And so many businesses only learn everything, the scale and scope of what Michelli does, when they go to the website. They can calibrate all of your precision measurement equipment. They even offer on-site calibration if you have devices that can't leave your facility or you don't want to leave your facility. So log on to Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli.com for Michelli Weighing and Measurement. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Travis Kelce is in no rush to make a decision on his future. Coming off a quiet performance in the Super Bowl 59 loss to the Eagles, Kelce plans on taking some time before deciding if he'll play a 13th NFL season.
As you see yourself or not feel yourself have the success that you once used to have, man, it's a tough pill to swallow. And then on top of that, to not be there in the biggest moments, knowing your team's counting on you, man. It's just a tough reality. I'm going to take some time to figure it out. I think I owe it to my teammates that if I do come back, that it's going to be something that it's a wholehearted decision. I'm not half-assing it. And I think I could play. It's just whether or not I'm motivated or it's the best decision for me.
Travis Kelce on the New Heights podcast. In the week leading up to the Super Bowl, he repeatedly said he planned to play in 2025. Ohio State's finalizing a deal to hire former Lions coach and Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia as its new DC. Dodgers likely start Yoshi Yamamoto when they open the season against the Cubs in Tokyo March 18th. Roki Sasaki could make his major league debut the next day. Angels third baseman Anthony Rendon will have hip surgery, expected to miss significant time. Hasn't played more than 58 games in any season since 2021.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Thursday as the NBA heads towards the All-Star break, I'll tell you how many teams are actually title contenders. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We are here in downtown Houston at Tom's Watch Bar. Really cool night tonight. LSU alumni night with the Houston Rockets. It's Rockets Suns. We missed Kevin Durant scoring 30,000 points, or his 30,000th point by one night. So I guess that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But Whenever we have a chance to partner with the LSU Alumni Association, we love to do it. Joe Carvalhido heads up the Alumni Association, is good enough to join us here for a couple of minutes on site. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, man. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you for inviting us. We'd love to do events like this and to partner. It's awesome to see guys like Jared Mitchell and Colin Jeter hanging out here as well. So it'd be a good night for the Alumni Association. If you would just maybe talk about how an event like this comes together first.
Yeah, so we do these things with the New Orleans Pelicans as well as the Houston Rockets, the Astros. It's a great opportunity for us to kind of bring people together who are in those cities through networking events and engagement events. It's easy to get people together for NBA games.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a draw, right? So sports brings a lot of us together, especially at LSU. And it's a fantastic opportunity for us to get people to come to a networking event. The nice part is the president of the Rockets is an LSU alum. The sales director was an intern of mine. So these are all people. These are all people from our past that have been a major part of who we are at LSU, and it makes it easy for us to partner with them. And having you guys here with us has been fantastic.
Yeah. So Gretchen Shear, who was she's apparently been with the Rockets for like 20 years.
Correct.
So she was the COO and then just got promoted to vice president of business operations. She like runs the whole thing. It's an LSU alum, which is pretty awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
She was a swimmer at LSU and during my time when I was women's basketball, and she just worked her way straight up, which is incredible. I mean, you talk about someone who was in marketing, ticket sales, and knows in the entire business and has elevated herself to that position. And, from in my world, having worked women's basketball, it's nice to see a woman in that position who is, you don't see many women in positions of presidents of NBA or pro teams. Right. And, but clearly they see something in her that has really been nice to see as far as her growth, but also the growth of the Rockets. I mean, they go from they're drafting all these young kids, and they're a fantastic ball club right now.
Yeah, man. Tari Eason, LSU alum, was a first-round pick a couple of years ago, playing well also. One thing, Joe Carvalhido, LSU Alumni Association's here with us on site. We're in downtown Houston. I think one of the things that a lot of people ask is like, well, what is the Alumni Association? What do you do? So when people say, what do you do? Joe, what do you do?
I ask myself that sometimes every day. We are the engagement organization. We are what you remember about your time at LSU. Whether you graduated in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 2000s, whatever it is, we are what you remember about the university. And we're a gateway back to the university. Sometimes when people leave the university, they feel like that door and chapter is closed on them. We don't ever want that to be the feel of someone who's an alum. And so when we come to the cities that you're in and we come to the places or whether you come back to campus, we want you to feel comfortable with who you are coming back to the university, and doors are open for you. We also want to be an opportunity for those people in different cities to have Tigers helping Tigers, whether they're helping them get jobs or whether they're helping them to assimilate to a new city. We want to have Tigers who help Tigers wherever they live, whether it's Seattle, New York, D.C., or in Baton Rouge itself.
Yeah, it's so true, and I've had a working relationship with the Alumni Association since 2009, and love everything that we get to do. It's always been a great partnership, so we're always happy to do events like this or anything we can. And Joe, I often tell people, like, yeah, I mean, we talk about sports, of course, we talk about the Tigers and the Saints and everything. I love LSU athletics, but I'm a very proud alum. Like, I went to school there. I'm very proud of having graduated from LSU and walking the halls and being at Dotson and the J Building and Allen and Thoreau, and like that's my school. So I have tremendous pride in it. I know a lot of people share that as well. Are there ways that people who maybe aren't alums or didn't go to school, like for people who just love LSU, to be involved with the Alumni Association, or something that's just specifically for people that graduated from LSU?
No, we're kind of an all-encompassing university. I think we did a study when I was at Tiger Athletic Foundation about the amount of people at Tiger Stadium who are non-alums.
Right.
People who just grew up loving the Tigers, hearing you guys on the radio from way out in whether it was Alexandria or DeRidder or wherever it was, and all those places. So people, we have an alumni by choice. So that's we call them alums ABCs.
I love it.
And so there's a lot of people who have an affinity for LSU that didn't necessarily go to college and stuff or to university and stuff. So there's that piece of it. There's also our Traveling Tigers, which you've been a major part of with us. And there's other things. We have a hotel on campus. We have a conference center. So we're an all-encompassing organization, and there's different ways to be involved with us. But you can be a member of our organization by way of being an alum or not an alum.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people who are affiliated with us who are not alums.
Yeah, I love the alumni by choice. That's really cool. I think my dad is one of those people, right? So grew up in New Orleans. He started his college career at USL, then which is of course Lafayette, but was USL at the time. Went into the Navy, finished, went to UNO to finish his school, then went to Loyola Law. So never went to LSU, but as a kid, Saturdays were we'd wake up, we'd drive to Baton Rouge, and we'd tailgate on the old front nine and go to games at Tiger Stadium. And Sundays we're in the Dome to watch the Saints. Like, that was my childhood, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many people like that who have a great affinity for the university.
You're one of many who have said that same story.
Yeah.
You just hear that same tale over and over again of people who grew up going to LSU games. Some people were, with basketball, some people with baseball, but most of it starts with football. And the time that they were brought to campus by their parents, grandparents, and then they started walking the halls themselves. And now they're creating that whole ecosystem for their kids as well, and their grandkids. And it's a big piece of who they are.
Look at this. Well, we have a giant.
Oh, man.
Where's this going? It's a giant LSU alumni
I am not sure. Well,
where's this going?
Colin's the biggest guy.
It's going to the stadium.
Colin's the biggest guy. He's got to hold it up. I mean, when you're 6'5", 230, that's who you got to hold that up.
His LSU bio, that's Colin Jeter, by the way. His LSU bio earlier, I was looking, actually has him at 6'7". So do you think they fudge those bios a little bit, Joe, just a smidge from time to time?
A little bit.
Are we 6'5" or are we 6'7"? I think about it like 6'6". Yeah,
nope.
Whatever.
He's got no cleats on. He's got his boots on though.
If people look, I know we do have a ton of people that listen and watch in the greater Houston area. If people are interested in coming tonight, is it too late?
No, they could still buy tickets. Lauren's given me the nod. They could still buy tickets.
Okay.
There is a link for those tickets, and but it's going to be a great night to have people with us, from LSU, who are just a camaraderie of everything. There's a great group over here for the chapter at the, from the crawfish boils to the golf tournaments. This is the largest alumni base for LSU outside of Louisiana. And it has really been a very productive area for LSU, and a great group of people who give back to the university, but they're not only just philanthropically, but through their time. And they're just wonderful, wonderful group of people. And the chapter is really robust and strong here.
Real quick, and Joe Carvalhido, Lauren Giffin's here as well. Give us how are you?
Hello.
I see. I got you on there. Details on tonight. If people are listening or watching, what are the details?
Okay, so they can still come buy your tickets. It's the Houston Rockets website /promo code.
Rockets.com/promo code.
There you go. And then you can use promo code LSU alum.
LSU alum.
And then, so we'll do pregame shoot around at 5:45 tonight, so you'll have that access. And then we're going to have some networking before tip-off, so that'll be in Club 50.
You have to have a ticket to the game with this to go into the network event.
Correct.
Club 50? Okay.
Club 50. And then tip is for 7:30. And we've had some great folks buy tickets. We're kind of all around the arena, so it's not specific sections or anything like that.
So everybody's not sitting together?
Yeah, so just choose your seat wherever you want. We have some T-shirts to give away, so that's kind of first come, first serve. This is an exclusive. We haven't told anyone this live. We have some signed jerseys. We have a signed basketball from Tari.
Let's go.
So, we're going to incentivize people to join the Alumni Association. Come hang out with us.
Very cool. So if you're in Houston or know someone who is, get your tickets for tonight. Bring your kiddos, too.
Yeah.
I mean, NBA is awesome to go. I mean, you can always get affordable seats. Rockets.com/promo code. And then use the code LSU alum. So hope to see a lot of y'all there tonight. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Joe,
so much.
Lauren, thanks, y'all.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Matt.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Appreciate seeing you guys. Thanks for the invite. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back. We'll make Colin Jeter come on air. We'll talk some football and some alumni stuff with him as well. Stick around. It's AFR.
After further review.
Hey, I love telling you about our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. Only in Louisiana can you go from snow to 80 degrees in the span of 10 days. But that's such is life. So if you end up in a situation where you need help with your heater or you need help with your AC, whatever HVAC issue you may have, our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air can help. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air. I always love reading 5-star Google reviews, but you can go read them yourself. They encourage you to do it because you're going to see consistently the experience that I and thousands of other of your friends and neighbors have had over the years. 4 decades, 40 years. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We do appreciate our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. Gents, if you're struggling with ED or hormone replacement therapy, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, a simple call, a simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate to feel like your younger self. Again, yourgoodwood.com. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Former Tiger great Jared Mitchell will be along in just a second. We're at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston. A really fun night tonight. We got playing with the LSU Alumni Association. It's LSU night with the Houston Rockets. And former Tiger Colin Jeter, who played for the Tigers from 2014 to 2016, now part of the LSU Alumni Association. Good enough to hang out with us here on site for a couple of minutes. How are you, dude?
Hey, doing good, man. Excited to be here in Houston. Excited for the Rockets event tonight. So
6'5", 6'6", 6'7". LSU's website got you listed at 6'7".
Okay.
Joe said 6'5".
Okay. Well, I would say both of those are wrong. Joe's, shortchanged me, and then, of course,
Okay.
LSU is always going to bump us. I will say my official measurement was 6'5" and 3/4.
So that's like combine measurement, pro day measurement?
Yeah. So I'm rounding that up to 6'6". So, 100%. There's plenty of guys on the roster that are slightly off. So
LSU's website has you at 6'7", 254. maybe with them long cleats, like in a rainy day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You wear your Nike Shocks in when you go measure. Yeah.
There it is, man. We'll talk a little bit about the Alumni Association stuff and everything going on here in just a smidge, but I'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little football. Does it warm your tight end heart seeing Brian Kelly have such an intent focus on the tight end position?
Oh, 100%. And not only does it warm my heart, it also makes me a little jealous because, when I was there, we were basically extra tackles. We just flipped that TE around to ET, and that was the game, which I was happy to do. Like, I love blocking for Fournette and Geis and all those guys, and I was happy to do my role in the team. But we certainly didn't catch a lot of passes when I was there, so it is refreshing.
I'm trying to look at your career. Let's see. You caught 23 passes. That ain't bad.
It's not bad. I was the king of 1 yard touch. I had 2 1-yard touchdowns. Yeah.
Who were your tuds against? I'm trying to remember.
I had one against Auburn in 2015. And that was the Fournette when he went
game.
nuclear. And then one against Louisville in my senior year. Bowl game. Got to finish out with a tud.
The Fournette game against Auburn was just, it was something.
I've never seen anything like it. He was unbelievable.
You were on the field.
Oh, yeah. There's a great picture. I have a front row seat to one of it. When the touchdown when he throws the guy over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I was right in front of him. It was insane.
Were you on the field or were you on the sideline?
On the field.
Okay, because that was down around like the 5-yard line where he threw the guy over the shoulder.
Oh, yeah. We were chasing him down.
I mean, that whole season was incredible. It's obviously disappointing the way that last month went, but sometimes it goes that way. I mean, when you look at just this current team now and the expectations based on where they are in year 3, I don't know, man. I think many of us had higher expectations and where they landed, but when you remove yourself, kind of pull back 10,000-foot view, you go, you know what the talent probably is about? They probably finished about where the talent, maybe geared them toward. What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, look, Coach Kelly's come in. I think he's done an outstanding job, especially what he started with no real scholarship players, kind of having to build the team through the transfer portal, and has done a good job of recruiting. Last year we showed flashes. I think we've got some guys there that are coming back that are going to make a big difference for us. But I just don't think we were quite there, like you said, talent-wise. I'm excited to see what we have this year. I like, speaking of tight ends, I know we're losing Taylor, who to me is an all-timer of LSU. Obviously, he owns all the records, but this Tradez Green kid that also plays basketball, I don't know if you saw his steal and dunk the other day. He's a freak. Absolute freak in nature. So I'm excited to see what they do with him. I know this past year they threw him out at receiver to get him on the field, but I believe they're going to throw him more in some tight end roles this year.
Coming back to Green in a second, but go to Mason. He's a guy that showed up weighing about 230, put on size. Do you think when you watch him, I mean, you're obviously a very different player, you mentioned. I mean, y'all were basically glorified tackles. This is just what it was in Lester's offense. I mean, Dylan Gordon was it was like a 300-pound tight end.
He was.
It's what he was. But do you think Mason, when you watch him, the pass-catching ability is undeniable, but do you think the all-around, the blocking and everything, how much has that come along?
I think it's come along a ton. I know he came in early, and first of all, to start as a freshman and play in the SEC says enough in itself. And him to be productive as a freshman, I know his sophomore year kind of dealt with some injuries, then this past year has come out and to me was the go-to guy on third down. But he's also improved. He's gotten bigger, stronger, faster. He's shown he can block inline. He can block nickels, linebackers. He can do a little bit of everything. He's probably a really well-balanced tight end. But I think he's only improving. And I'm excited to see. I hate that he's not coming back for senior year, but I understand it. He's going to do big things at the next level, and I think he's going to be one of those guys in the NFL that people refer to NFL LSU.
Yeah. Former LSU tight end Colin Jeter's with us here. He's now with the LSU Alumni Association. We're here in Houston downtown at Tom's Watch Bar. So you mentioned Tradez. That's a guy who obviously creates giant mismatches in the pass game. But if you were sort of counseling him on how to become a better obviously at blocking, what would you suggest? How do they work with him over the next couple of years to make him a more well-rounded tight end?
He's just got to get in. I mean, what we did when I was there, and obviously we did a lot of blocking, it's all about footwork, hand placement, head placement. It's a lot of just technical stuff. So it's just constantly working on your first 2 steps, working on driving, working on making sure your assignments are correct. I know his coach is going to get – I believe we got a new tight end coach.
Yeah.
He's going to get in there and get with him, make sure all his assignments, and knowing how to adjust based on what the defense does in front of you. It's a lot of just technical things. I believe he's probably as big as strong as he needs to be. He's been more of a, just a big athlete in high school, and now he's kind of getting the chance to work on his craft. So, yeah, I would say footwork, hand placement, hat placement, pad level, all that kind of stuff. That's just done repetition after repetition. So
he only played football for 2 years.
I know. Isn't that nuts?
I mean,
and Zachary, he could get away with that because he was the biggest athlete on the field, and they just throw him jump ball. And yes, he is. But he'd just show off that athleticism, and I think that's what's got LSU fans so excited about him is all the potential in this kid. So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you know anything about the transfers they added? It's okay if you don't. One kid's from Oklahoma, Bauer Sharp. One's from Texas A&M and Donovan Green.
Now, the kid from Oklahoma, I remember when he came and played, and I saw a little bit of it. I believe he's from somewhere here in Louisiana.
So he's from Maryland.
Okay.
And then he started his college career at Southeastern.
That's what it is.
So he came in as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And in spring, they moved him to tight end, and he played tight end at Southeastern, then went to Oklahoma, now to LSU.
Oh, yeah. And look,
great athlete.
Yeah, and if you got a guy that transitions from quarterback to tight end, they usually turn out to be pretty good. I mean, first 2 guys that come to mind, one is Travis Kelce. I'm not saying he's Travis Kelce.
Point.
And then number 2, I don't know if you remember the Belldozer, Blake Bell at Oklahoma back in the day. He played 10 years in the league.
Also with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Wouldn't Blake Bell with the Chiefs too?
They played together. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But, yeah, no, I think it's a
the Belldozer.
It's a unique – yeah, he's a beast. But it's a unique transition. I feel like some guys go in there and have success, and obviously he's proven that. I think he was one of their leading receivers at Oklahoma this past year. Kind of seemed like
he was the leading pass catcher.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So he had seemed to have a fire to him, seemed like he loved – run after catch, getting in line, blocking a little bit. So I think he's going to be another great player for us.
A couple more minutes here with Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end, now at the LSU Alumni Association. I also wanted to get your opinion because you were a guy that came to LSU from JUCO. And so the Diego Pavia rule is a thing now where, for those that aren't familiar, the Vanderbilt quarterback started his career in JUCO and then went to New Mexico State, now at Vandy. And he said basically because junior college isn't under the NCAA jurisdiction, his 5 years to play for, the clock shouldn't have started until he got into the NCAA. And so a judge agreed with him, and the NCAA gave a blanket waiver to everybody who had played JUCO just for this year until they can sort it all out, that anybody who played JUCO was out of eligibility, okay, you can play 1 more year. Would you have taken advantage of 1 more year if you had that waiver?
Oh, 100%. I was talking to Jack Marucci the other day about how I can play now. As far as I'm concerned, I got 1 more year according to this rule.
Let's go.
So, no.
How old are you now?
29. I'm still in my prime.
Yeah, you can still roll.
And I need to work on the hamstrings right now, but I might pull one. But yeah, I would have loved that. I did 1 year at junior college. I was able to transfer. Got to play 3 at LSU. I really think an extra year would have helped me develop. So, yeah, I would 100% take advantage of that.
Do you think that is, I'll use this term loosely, fair? I know the whole thing about fair. The only fair is with Ferris wheels and buses is the old saying. I understand, life ain't fair, but I'm struggling for another way to say it. Do you think your eligibility in the NCAA should be affected by playing in JUCO?
It is such a different rule. I was thinking about that. To me, it affects the smaller Division I AA schools, because if that's going to stay a rule, if I'm a kid that's kind of a tweener coming out, I don't have the big time SEC offer. I've got Division I AA or junior college. I'm going to junior college all day because I can go, not blow a year eligibility, get bigger, stronger, faster, and then still get recruited to these big schools. So I don't necessarily know if it's fair. I mean, for a guy to go and play, basically go 2 years developmental league in my mind for college and then not lose any eligibility, it's odd compared to what everyone else has normally done. So I don't know. That to me was part of the pitch was, come in, take a year. Obviously, you're not the big level you want to be, but come play. If you develop and be the player we think you could be, then the big schools will start calling. You kind of put in your time to earn the next step. But, to be able to do that and not lose any eligibility, I mean, that's like having your cake and eating it too. So
it is weird, though, because I think about it, Colin, just as we're having the convo, I mean, JUCO isn't NCAA.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, how is it different than Ichiro playing in Japan for 10 years, then coming to Major League Baseball and is a rookie.
You're right. Look,
or Luka. Luka was a pro for like 10 years, like a pro 14 years old. You know, but he became an NBA rookie because it was a different league. I mean, in some respects, I kind of go, I get what you're saying. Like, is it quote unquote fair? I don't know, but why? JUCO and the NCAA are not the same thing.
You know, that's something I didn't think, because it is. The junior college is NJCAA, so it's a different thing entirely. So, I guess I'm just a little jealous. I wish it would have been around when I was in school.
Man. Get that NIL money, too, bro.
Seriously.
That's what all these guys are doing.
We missed out on all the good stuff.
That's how it should go, though, right? Like, it's like parents. You want to leave the world better for your kids. You want to get them a better opportunity. That's all it is, man. It's the next. It's like professional basketball players. I mean, you think about like the 12th guy on a roster making $30 million a year, and Charles Barkley. Did he ever make $1 million in a year? I mean, I'm being a little facetious, but you know my point, though.
Oh, 100%.
Just, hey, before you go, Colin Jeter's with us, LSU Alumni Association. Tell us what's good, man. Like working with the Alumni Association, what that's been like.
It's been great. You know, I started right before football season, which was obviously ideal for me. I've been able to participate as season went on, but I love it. Look, LSU did so much for me. Not only school-wise, but just the people I met and then the connections I've made. So that's kind of course, the mission of what we do at the Alumni Association. We want to keep everyone connected, whether we're helping you if you've got a business, you're looking to hire LSU students. If you're on the other end, if you're coming out looking for a job, if you're just looking to network in a new area like this in Houston, that's what we're here for. So I love it. Like I said, LSU did so much for me. I'm happy to give back in any way I can, and it's been a really fun experience, and I'm hoping we can continue to help LSU grads.
You gonna get out there during shoot around tonight? Did you ever play basketball? You had to.
No, I was terrible at basketball. I was a baseball and football guy.
At 6'6", no one ever said, hey, big guy, like, go stand on the low block and we're going to throw you the ball. Just put it in.
They tried, but look, I have some friends that might be listening, and if I came out here and lied and said I was good at basketball, I'd get exposed. So I'd rather just come clean.
Dog, I mean, like, it doesn't matter about being good. It's just about being functional. I mean, LSU pulled a guy out of the band who was 7 feet tall. Do you remember Andrew Del Piero? Do you remember this?
That was before me.
Do you not know the story?
No.
LSU had a guy, Andrew Del Piero was his name. He was in the band. He was a tuba player, but he was 7 feet tall. Yeah. And Trent Johnson took him out of the band and put him on the floor. He was a 7-footer who came off the bench and ran the floor for 5 minutes a night and grabbed a couple of rebounds.
Yeah. No, look, and I think I would have been functional, but it's 7 foot is a whole nother level too.
Shout out Andrew Del Piero.
Yeah.
First time I mentioned that name on the show in a decade, easily in a decade. Colin Jeter, thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate you,
absolutely,
buddy.
man. I was blessed.
It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Remember, we tell you all the time, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. You can have your eye exam. You can buy your contacts and glasses. Or, of course, if you want to have that refractive procedure to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center, they're the best. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, we are rolling along here from downtown Houston. Excited to be here with the LSU Alumni Association today for this really cool event they got. It's LSU night over with the Houston Rockets playing the Phoenix Suns, so we'll get an opportunity to watch the Rockets. Tari Eason run the floor a little bit tonight, former Tiger against KD and the Suns. And they got a really cool networking event. The LSU alums are going to get in to watch shoot-around at 5:45. Not too late to get tickets. If you want to get tickets to the game, just go to rockets.com/promo code, rockets.com/promo code, and put in LSU alum, LSU ALUM, and that's how you can get the ticket. All right, it's After Further Review, y'all. We'll roll along here. Former Tiger great Jared Mitchell is here with us as well, so we'll talk some LSU baseball. Jay Johnson has, in fact, announced his starting rotation for this weekend. We'll get Jay Mitchell's thoughts on that. So that's coming up. Jared will join us here at the top of Hour 3, so in about 30 minutes from right now. Don't you move. Stick around. We are rolling along here on hour number 2 of AFR.
After Further Review.
Always love telling you about the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, Watermark Downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Watermark Baton Rouge, gorgeous. It is just such an exquisite property if you've never been. And look, I work in downtown Baton Rouge, so I'm downtown literally every day. But I know a lot of people in Baton Rouge maybe don't make their – we often tend to live in our bubbles, right? You go out to eat or you hang out you near where you live or where your friends are. It's just sort of where your family is, that sort of thing. But going downtown Baton Rouge is awesome. And the Watermark is such a picturesque piece of Baton Rouge's downtown. The original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building. I mean, this is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. The Gregory is an amazing dining experience. They have these really cool private dining rooms, which are the old bank vaults. When you go down the marble staircase, you got to check it out downtown. It's the Watermark Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages, and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Saints will introduce Kellen Moore on Thursday, 11:30 a.m. press conference. Of course, we'll hear everything the new Saints coach has to say when he's introduced to the media, and we'll start to move forward as an organization. Of course, coming off a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 59 this past weekend. Dallas Goedert was, of course, the Eagles tight end, was on Sirius XM NFL radio, and he was asked his reaction to Kellen Moore taking the New Orleans Saints head coaching job. Here's Dallas Goedert.
Ever since Kellen got here, he was awesome. He did a great job leading the room when he was in there. I expect him to be a great head coach in this league. I talked to him after the Super Bowl and gave him my spiel on why he should come back and run it back with us one more year, but incredibly happy for him and awesome opportunity for him. But he did a great job ever since he got in the building. He went and watched the tape of the last 3 years, and, he really tried to make sure he didn't change anything that we did well, tried to eliminate the things that we struggled with, and then brought his own twist to everything. So he was an important part of this run, and I'm happy for him that he got the coaching job and wish him all the success anytime he's not playing the Eagles. But I wish he would have stayed one more year with us.
I would always rather hear players compliment their coaches on the way out as opposed to the alternative. I would always rather hear a head coach compliment the assistant on the way out as opposed to the alternative. You'd always rather the head coach on stage after the Super Bowl imploring the assistant to run it back one more year as opposed to the alternative. It's part and parcel with having success. When you have success, you're going to lose your assistants. It's just the nature of it. If you missed Brooks Kubena, who was with us last hour, he had a really good – actually, Muse, could you do me a favor and pull that soundbite? It was near the end of the interview. Sorry, I put you on the spot there, but let's see if we can find that. Brooks had a great soundbite at the end of the interview about Nick Sirianni losing assistants. And the point he made, and I'm paraphrasing here, because I'd asked Brooks, what assistants might be joining Kellen Moore in New Orleans, and the obvious one that he mentioned was Nussmeier, Doug Nussmeier. But one of the things that he also said is that Nick Sirianni is very encouraging and helpful for his assistants trying to get head coaching jobs, but whenever they leave, Sirianni, protects his staff fervently, right? He doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want his staff poached by his assistants who are leaving. So that's going to be another dynamic of this whole conversation as it all plays out. That's the Eagles side of it. The Chiefs side of it is another part of the Super Bowl. And Travis Kelce on his New Heights podcast was talking about his future. And, boy, he looked a guy in his middle 30s now who's already won 3 Super Bowls and has oddly, I would assume a more lucrative life away from football presently than he has on the field. Travis Kelce's contract is he signed a 2-year, $34.2 million deal. So it averages out at $17 million. He is under contract for 2025. And then he's an unrestricted free agent. So he's under contract for 1 more year. And he's an all-time great. Like, there's no doubt. I mean, Travis Kelce is a Hall of Famer. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's not even debatable. But boy, he looked done in that Super Bowl. I mean, it was not Patrick Mahomes' sharpest day, but the same is true for Travis Kelce. He caught 4 balls and 6 targets for 39 yards. But he could very well be done. And on New Heights, he said, I'll quote it here for you. On New Heights, Travis Kelce said of his future, "I know everybody wants to know whether I'm playing next year, and right now I'm just kicking everything down the road. I'm kicking every can I can down the road. I'm not making any crazy decisions." It's interesting. That's interesting because all during Super Bowl week, Kelce was talking about playing multiple more years. And then you lose the Super Bowl, and now he's talking about not making a decision, in the short term and kicking it down the road. That'll be an interesting one to watch, obviously, because Kelce's interesting, but he's also a guy that, with New Heights and with his endorsement opportunities, can make more money being Mr. Taylor Swift away from football than he could on the field and without the physical grind on your body. And I know, by and large, many people listening here don't care about that element of it. It's more about the football side. But there is that component of it where at 35 years old, do you get your body ready for another season when you've already won 3 Super Bowls and you have so much opportunity away from the football field afterwards? And it feels like that loss might have changed that a bit for Travis Kelce. We'll see ultimately what he elects to do. Also, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Saquon Barkley was on the Howard Stern show and defended Taylor Swift, who was booed during the Super Bowl. He said, "I remember they showed her on the Jumbotron and she got booed. I don't get it. I don't get why she was getting hate there." He said she was supporting her significant other. She's made the game bigger. In football, we're all about How can we expand the game and make it more international? We're traveling to Brazil. We're traveling to Mexico. Apparently, we're traveling to Australia soon. We're trying to expand the game, and her being part of it is only helping. I don't get the dislike she's getting. I agree with him. Look, I mean, y'all know I married the biggest Swiftie in the world. Like, my wife was wearing a Go Taylor's Boyfriend shirt she made, like handmade, for the Super Bowl, an 87 hat. All the desserts and treats they had for their Super Bowl party were all Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce themed. Like, she's one of them. And I love that she loves it. I mean, it doesn't bother me one lick. I mean, she loves it, and that's great. But there is truth to that. Like, Taylor Swift never asks to be put on camera. She doesn't do anything to draw attention to herself. She just happens to be the most famous person in the world whose boyfriend plays for the Chiefs. So good for Saquon, man. I respect him saying that and kind of defending her. I know why she was booed. She was booed because, by all accounts, it was like 80% Eagles fans in the Dome. And clearly, she's cheering for the Chiefs. So, not that they necessarily hate Taylor Swift. They just hate that she's cheering for the Chiefs. They showed Travis Kelce's girlfriend, not hating on Taylor Swift. But y'all may get your wish, man. If Kelce retires, we won't be seeing Taylor Swift on the Jumbotron at games anymore, which would be the NFL's loss. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. For South Point Volkswagen, remember, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, that's South Point Volkswagen. So if you want to test drive one, nobody's got better inventory, and nobody can give you better prices than South Point Volkswagen. Go check them out, and always shop online. If it's on the lot, it's online. Great selection, the great German engineering, without the cost, all the top safety picks. Maybe you're a parent, you got a kiddo that's driving for the first time. You want the peace of mind of knowing that your child is driving a safe vehicle, but also one that they're going to enjoy driving and that's not going to kill your wallet. Test drive a Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, former Tiger great Jared Mitchell's here with us. He'll be on in 15 minutes from right now. From Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston. We're here for an LSU Alumni Association LSU night with the Houston Rockets. The alumni folks were good enough to invite us to tag along here for this networking event and this LSU alumni event. So if you know a Houston Tiger, tell them to make their way out to Toyota Center tonight. They got a deal if you go to rockets.com/promo code. All this info is on our socials, by the way. Rockets.com/promo code. Use the code LSU alum. You can get access to the shoot-around, which is 1 hour from right now. Get access to pregame shoot-around and the networking opportunity at Bar 50 inside of Toyota Center. And then we'll watch the Rockets and the Suns tonight. Be a lot of fun. All right, we're glad you're hanging out with us here. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros next on AFR.
AFR.
Let me take 60 seconds and remind you about Action Industries, and not just Action Industries, but also the Advanced Turnaround Group within Action Industries. Of course, the Advanced Turnaround Group is its own separate set of resources. It's all under the same Action Industries umbrella, but they're not taking people from other projects and throwing them into the turnaround world. The Advanced Turnaround Group is a core group of people and professionals that have assembled their careers on turnaround execution. It's a different pool of resources. Again, the same people at Action with workers who are proficient in turnaround work. These are turnaround managers, turnaround coordinators. So get in, get your turnaround work done, safety with great quality, select people working on just your turnaround. That's Action Industries. People know them as capital project and maintenance work. This is the turnaround division. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group, part of Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Always appreciate our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I've told you for many years the importance, gentlemen, of getting that blood test done, checking your hormone levels to see if there is a path for you to safely and affordably supplement to get to healthy levels, not only for the way you feel, your overall general health. I'm very bullish on this. I went down this path 7 years ago. And it is life-changing. I say often, you don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. Go to yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. All right, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, it is going to be basically LSU NBA night galore, not just over there in Houston. Every Tiger who is in the NBA is in action here on Wednesday night. A couple of updates to get to. Let's actually start with the Los Angeles Clippers. And you might be wondering, Muso, why are you talking about the Los Angeles Clippers? Well, that's because Ben Simmons plays for the Los Angeles Clippers now. Had his first practice with the team on Tuesday. They are in action against the Grizzlies. Albeit only one practice, but we'll see if that's enough to get Ben some minutes. He spoke after practice yesterday, said he's ready to play at, quote, a high level. Says he felt great, healthy, feels like, he's ready to get back to how he can play the game of basketball, and feels like that's going to happen in L.A. with the Clippers. So Ben Simmons, now a member of the Clippers, has the chance to make his debut tonight when they host the Memphis Grizzlies. As for Ben Simmons' former team, the Brooklyn Nets, of course, Trendon Watford's on that squad. But as is Cam Thomas. We haven't seen Cam Thomas in a while. A little bit of an update. He does continue to progress with individual on-court workouts. Coming back from that hamstring strain, he is expected to return shortly after the All-Star break. Of course, Cam Thomas has not played since January the 2nd. And then, of course, Matt's in Houston for a reason. Tari Eason, he'll be on the floor tonight for the for the Rockets. Get him some extra run over there on LSU Alumni Night, man. Let's get Tari the start. And then, of course, Naz Reid wraps it up. Wraps it up. His Timberwolves host the Bucks. Naz has been on a run here, man, starting some games, and has seen his averages on the season increase, now up to 14 points and 5 boards for Naz as he takes on a bigger role there with the Timberwolves. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Should have stayed. So, one of the things that I was told there in Mussolini, and I'm not sure if you can corroborate for Prep at Tigers in the Pros all the time, is that Tari, maybe like there was a back-to-back thing where like he might have sat out a back-to-back, but it looks like I think he didn't play against the Raptors last time out. So he should be playing. He had a rest day the last time out, so he should. Yeah, on the 9th. He didn't play against the Raptors on the 9th. He played against Dallas on the 8th, didn't play against the Raptors on the 9th. So he should be getting some run tonight. I don't know what all is going on there with Tari and his minutes, if it's a minutes restriction or anything like that. But on Saturday, he played 30 minutes against Dallas and then didn't play the second of a back-to-back against Toronto on the 9th. So he's with a couple of days off. He should be ready to go and rip and run tonight. So excited to see Tari Eason, former Tiger, they're out tonight. By the way, brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. I should have mentioned that, of course. Tigers in the Pros, brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. Gents, we are 2 days away from Valentine's Day. Don't screw it up. Give her a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You thought I was going to say baseball, didn't you? Yep, Bo's sitting there like pumping his fist. No, dork. It's time to go spend money on a made-up holiday. That's what you have to do. But if you're going to do that and your wife loves it and he expects you to get her something great, it's really easy. Just go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You go to the website. They've got a whole Valentine's Day section on the website. Stone, design, price. You can narrow down everything for all the gifts that you're looking for. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. We are in downtown Houston. LSU Alumni Night over at Toyota Center for the Rockets. I think like a school let out or something downtown. There's a bunch of kids running around in blue shirts. I say kids. They're probably like teenagers, but I guess it's kids. There's a couple dozen just all running around. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing here. I never know what she's doing in there. But we're here, and we got 1 hour to go. SportsCenter's coming up. We get you caught up on national headlines. After SportsCenter, former Tiger great Jared Mitchell will join us on site. If you missed it, Jay Johnson today did announce LSU's starting rotation for opening weekend. Cade Anderson will get the ball in Game 1. It will be the transfer Anthony Ianson in Game 2. And then Chase Shores, coming off Tommy John, will get the ball in Game 3. So Anderson, Ianson, Shores, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or games 1, 2, 3, because we are expecting bad weather in Baton Rouge. And Jay Johnson did say on off the bench this morning that if bad weather comes through on Saturday, which it is expected to do, one of the possible scenarios would be playing a doubleheader on Friday. So waiting on word on that. Nothing official. But games 1, 2, 3, the starters are set. We'll get Jared Mitchell's take on that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
As we put a button here in hour number 2, remind you about Parish Restoration, kill mold, remove odor, or if you have any type of water intrusion or need restoration and remediation services, you want the best, you want Parish Restoration. I told you I had a friend of mine who texted me Tuesday morning. They had a refrigerator leak all through the night, didn't know it, caused a giant mess, called Parish Restoration. They were there that day. She said they were absolutely wonderful to deal with. Getting everything fixed up. It's Parish Restoration. So if you need remediation, they can help. But also, if you got mold or think you might, if you got odor, it could be pet odor. Maybe you bought a home where the previous owner was a smoker. Maybe there's smoke odor from a fire. Maybe it's sweat odor in your home or in a workout facility. Maybe you want to sanitize a school, a medical facility. Flu's going around like crazy. Call Parish Restoration. They'll come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. ParishBuilt.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Will tight end Travis Kelce be back in Kansas City in 2025? He's not ready to officially make that call just yet. In the latest New Heights podcast, Kelce said he'll take some time before making a decision on his future and whether he'll play a 13th NFL season. The 35-year-old in the week leading up to the Super Bowl repeatedly said he planned to play in 2025. Tonight's NBA doubleheader tips off in an hour on ESPN with the Spurs visiting the Celtics at 7 Eastern, followed by Warriors Mavericks. Golden State's 2-0 since acquiring Jimmy Butler, who's settling in quite nicely with his new team, notes Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr.
The off-ball movement that he's been doing with that team, getting the ball from Draymond, has been miraculous. He's getting to the free throw line. Most importantly, in the minutes that Stephen Curry has not played, they've been a +6. And Jimmy Butler gets in the game, gets to the free throw line, and stabilizes that team without Stephen Curry, which allows him to go into those third and fourth quarter flurries that make him so dangerous.
Ohio State's finalizing a deal to hire former Lions coach and Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia as their DC.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. And now a Progressive ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big with Progressive. This has been a Progressive ad from Progressive. See if you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We're here in Houston, downtown at Tom's Watch Bar. 1 hour to go. It is LSU night over at Toyota Center for the Rockets and the Suns. Get to see KD, but we are 48 hours away, less than 48 hours away now from first pitch of the LSU baseball season. Few better to talk to than former Tiger. Guy was the most outstanding player of the 2009 College World Series. He's a national champion of football and baseball. Works for the SEC Network. And, oh, by the way, now is also a member of the Guarantee Media family, doing some biz dev here in Houston. It's Jared Mitchell. How are you, dude?
Living, man. Living.
Dude, it's good to see you.
Yeah,
we mostly only get to ever talk on the phone or on Zooms or stuff like that. So it's nice to be face to face. You're not from Houston. What kind of brought you here? Walk us through what brought you here.
Man, it was pretty much like the nice middle spot for everything we got going on in my life. I mean, the ability to be able to travel, I thought was kind of a huge part of coming here as well. But my wife's from Plano, so she's from the Dallas area, but her company's based out of Austin. So I'm obviously from the Lafayette, New Iberia area. It's just, it worked out, man, with everything we had going on, and it's been a good transition so far.
That is flat in between, man. Houston's so big, and I mean, it's many people know my family and I. We spent a time here with our son. He was actually born here in the Med Center, and we spent some time here with him when he was sick. But I know, like, Louisiana people made a lot of jokes about Houston. The 610 loop, and we make Aggie jokes and all that sort of stuff. I got a great affinity for this city. This was a special place for me and my family. So my son was born here, and we got a lot of friends here as well. So it is cool to be able to come here, and you're doing a lot of business development, which I want to talk about. But let's talk some baseball, because I'm sure that's what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, of course.
So Jay Johnson announced a rotation. They're going to go Cade Anderson.
Right.
Anthony Ianson, the transfer, and then Chase Shores, 1, 2, 3. What do you think?
I like it, man. I was honestly surprised that Chase Shores would be the Sunday guy, I guess, out the chute. You would imagine a guy that's almost 2 years of doing all of the rehab to get himself right, and the ability to sit and talk with Paul Skeens and all of the other guys who've kind of been able to be in and kind of bounce out. I was a little surprised that he's going to start as far back as he will, if you want to call it that. It doesn't really matter. He's obviously still in the rotation, but that also speaks to what Jay obviously sees in those guys. Obviously Cade has made a huge jump to go from basically the midweek starter to hopping into the Friday night role. Obviously, Anderson coming in, being the Saturday guy. I'm very curious to see how it's going to go, because they have so many arms, and they have some good, really, really, really top-end type of the arms. It's just going to be, how are you going to fit this thing? How quickly are you going to be able to put it all together to where you got to go with it? Because I'm a huge believer in, listen, it really doesn't matter how much talent and how deep you are. You're going to have some guys that are quote-unquote upset, that are quote-unquote not happy to really get that team to whatever your top end should be.
Hey, man, it's funny when the dude that's 6'8" throws 100 is like your number 3.
And has had time to sit there and develop a second pitch and everything. It's like, so you imagine like anybody, imagine you going through battles on Friday and Saturday, and you think, oh, I get to breathe. We got a shot. No, you don't.
No, you don't. Here comes 100.
No, here comes 100 with some sink, with the slider. And, oh, by the way, he's 6'8". He might be releasing it right on your elbow already. So, yeah, hey, that's not what you want to see right there.
But, dude, walk me through the Cade Anderson piece, because here's what I find so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome in the non-conference last year.
Oh, yeah.
13 Ks against Southeastern. He was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time he went up against an SEC opponent, he just couldn't get hitters out.
Yeah.
Why does that change this year? I mean, what switch flips? What do you figure out to now be able to go and get a Jared Mitchell out on a Sunday?
Yeah, so for me,
Friday in this case.
From the things I've seen, you gotta. I spent no time in the fall practice. I spent no time there in the spring, so I have seen none of this, right?
Yeah.
But what I can tell you from experience and from things that I've seen in the past, there's some guys that are just starters, and there's some guys that are just good at being relievers. If you remember back a long time ago, you bring in different guys in different roles, and they don't really know where they're at or how to get themselves ready, or they're not used to doing those things, you get different kind of performances. So the ability for him to kind of basically start every time you saw him in the midweek, I think he got a feel for getting comfortable and getting into the game and understanding what he needed to do to get himself ready. And I think when you threw him into those spots over the weekend, it just became tough for him. He wasn't used to being in those spots. He wasn't ready when he was at. I think he was able to kind of understand that I have a real chance to be in this rotation. It's obviously worked out. And from what I've heard, there's been another pitch added, which I think that next pitch has been something that's been really good for him as well. So it should be really good. But I watched him pitch last year a lot, and even through the times where he would throw in the weekends, I always thought the whole time, I was like, he's a guy that's up there pounding the zone. He throws fastballs for strikes. He can flip another pitch in there. I was like, this is a guy, especially through what we've historically seen in the SEC, whereas you go Friday, Saturday, you get to Sunday, you're just hoping for someone to keep you in the fight. You're hoping for someone that's going to throw strikes, that's going to be able to challenge hitters to give you a chance. I was like, this is the guy you need to start on Sunday. So I'm glad to see him getting in the rotation on Sunday, and on Fridays. And I'm expecting to see big things out of him. I really am.
The word on Anderson is, you said he added a pitch that he's got command of 4 pitches.
Yeah.
Command of 4 pitches from the left side is like that's big league stuff. If you can command 4 pitches. When did do you remember guys that you faced that had that arsenal? Or at what level was that something consistently that you saw?
Well, I'll probably say my freshman year at LSU, the last series of the year, we went to Vanderbilt, and their Friday night guy at that time was named by David Price.
Yeah.
So that was my welcome to.
Was that 7 or was that 6?
That was 07.
It was 7. Yeah, it was 7. Yeah. Okay.
That was my welcome to. This is what a real lefty looks like.
Yeah.
This is what a big league ace from the left side looks like.
Yeah.
So that was my welcome to it. But no, it's a different thing, and I think so. For Cade, obviously, the talk is that he's added a slider. His breaking ball last year was this big curveball, right? And if you go back and really watch it, it's such a big pitch that when he would throw it a lot of times, it would fool hitters, it would fool umpires, and it was hard for him to steal strikes with it. So if he wasn't throwing it to where he was burying it and basically trying to get you out with it, it was either fastball or that, and he would get behind in counts because they wouldn't call that pitch for him sometimes. So I think by him being able to add a slider, he'll be able to throw that thing later in counts and not have to worry about trying to throw it early in counts. Being a new guy, umpires didn't know what he had. They haven't seen that coming. I actually ran across a video a couple of days ago on Barry Zito, and I'm not really comparing him to Barry Zito. But Barry Zito's fastball would literally start at the top of your helmet, and he would throw it, and then that release point, the breaking ball would start there and be even higher. And I've seen like an overlapping video where one would stay there when he would try to throw it for chase, and then he'd throw the next breaking ball, and it would. How do you hit that?
Yeah.
But this is Barry Zito in the middle of his career where people knew what he was doing. I think it kind of would shake Cade a little bit when he wouldn't get the strikes for it, and the guys buckling and the umpires giving up on it, and next thing you know, now he's got to groove a heater. So I think being able to add that slider in there that doesn't have this big thing, and now he can throw that thing to bury it when he wants to, I think it's going to be huge for him because now he can use that slider if he really wants to early in counts and kind of get into – he can – by being able to throw 4 different pitches for strikes like that, he's going to be able to pitch backwards. He's going to be able to throw fastballs late in the counts. He's going to be able to do kind of whatever he wants. And like I said, I'm curious to see it work because I thought last year this guy's got real feel for the pitches that he's throwing, and you don't find that much at such a young age.
Dude, I have no doubt it's going to work against Purdue-Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
It better.
It's going to work against Purdue-Fort Wayne. My question is, okay, fast forward a month, and you open up conference play against Missouri, which, I mean, you're dipping your toe in the water in the SEC.
It's huge for him. I really do. I'm telling you, I really do think if he can throw that slider early in counts, if he can start landing a breaking ball early in counts, I think the guy that you see Friday night compared to the guy that you're going to see by the time they start conference be completely different in terms of that confidence that he's going to gain through those first 3 to 4 starts is going to carry him and float him through a different mindset of where he is.
Are you good to hang for another segment?
Yeah.
I want to ask you, because I know we're mingling and it's a social event, but I want to ask you about what they do in right field. And not only that, but how do you keep everybody happy?
Yeah.
I mean, you know this, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
of course.
When you're that talented, you're like, why am I sitting? I need to play.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jared Mitchell's going to hang out with us. We're at Tom's Watch Bar, downtown Houston. Stick around. We'll continue to talk some more LSU baseball. It's AFR. AFR, our title sponsor every Wednesday all throughout the year is Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. Gents, I tell you about this, and I've been telling you about it for years, and it's a real thing. And for so many people, there's a stigma, there's a negativity associated with hormone replacement therapy. But I'm telling you, there's nothing to be embarrassed about or to be worried about, go get information. The truth is, every single human as we age, our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. Your vitality, your energy level, your ability to burn fat, build muscle, libido, all of it. It changes for all of us as we age. Well, what if you can safely and affordably supplement to get to healthy levels so you can feel that vitality even as you age? It's possible. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate. So learn more. Go to yourgoodwood.com. Again, online, yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, we got one more segment here with Jay Mitch, Jared Mitchell, of course, most outstanding player of the 09 College World Series. I mean, freaking first-round pick. National champion in 2 sports, working here in Houston now with us at Guarantee Media, doing some business development. For those who are listeners, watchers, business owners in the Houston area, tell people what you're doing here.
Digital media, digital marketing, man, for Guarantee Media. We're out here, we're trying to help any business that is trying to kind of grow and scale and do their thing and actually be able to market it correctly and understanding the ability to marry, I guess you can say, business with marketing and understand that those are 2 working cogs together and not kind of 2 things that are pulling against each other. And the more you understand business, probably the better you are at marketing, and the ones that are at the top of the game they work together. So being able to kind of give that message and help and be a part of somebody else's success story or growing those things as well.
You're a business owner in the Houston area. Reach out. Do business with Jared Mitchell.
There you go.
Do business with he'll bring his rings, all of them. He'll bring his rings when y'all chat. I wanted to ask you. We talked pitching last segment. I wanted to ask you about right field because, like, I have this I have this I don't know, vision, not like a vision, but like this picture in my head where I go, okay, if everything they say is true and Stanfield's going to play center and Curiel's going to lock down left, you got one spot in the outfield. I'm going, all right, well, there's Jake Brown, who's the number one player in the state last year. Yeah. There's Ashton Larson, who was one of your most consistent performers a year ago, was starting by the end of the year. There's Josh Pearson, who's done nothing but deliver in clutch moments for you for 3 years, who's a senior now. Like,
who
you play?
Who and where? So, like, I guess I'll start with Pearson. You're just not going to tell me a guy that has the time in this program with Jay, that's had the amount of big at-bats that Pearson's had, not play a role on this team. He's going to get at-bats. So it's like, all right, where's it going to come? I think they have an understanding that may come at the DH, that may come in left field, that may come in right field. I don't know where. I think they understand that he's going to get those chances. Someone like Ashton Larson, who has gotten bigger, by all accounts has gotten better, and was able to come in and make the impact that he made last year, you got to imagine that there's opportunity out there for him as well. But once again, you also mentioned someone like Jake Brown, who's extremely talented, who I've been so interested to see, and this isn't like a knock on the kid at all. I got a chance to meet him before he ever put the purple and gold on, and I thought he was a great kid. For the season to end the way it did, and I know, and I ain't sitting here blaming last year on him. But I know if anything I know about the kid and meeting him and kind of getting a chance to talk to him, that's something that fueled him throughout the entire summer, throughout the entire fall, and throughout the entire spring to get going. I'm so interested to see what he's going to do this year. But I think about those situations, and I take myself back to another spot, and I'm like, man, I can remember 2009 when we had a guy by the name of Leon Landry who 3 weeks through the season had 9 homers. And then pretty much didn't play the rest of the year. Yeah. Turned himself into a third-round pick the very next year. I can remember that year as well, where we, in the fall, or actually on the team that year that didn't travel, we had a guy named Matt Gode who decided next year that he was going to lead the SEC in homers. He didn't travel with us that year. Right. That fall, we also had a guy by the name of Rafe Rhymes. He transferred out and went to a JUCO. Right. So, like, you get what I'm saying?
How did that work out for him eventually? What happened there?
Exactly. That guy that turned into the SEC Player of the Year.
Goes back and it's 420.
So that's my thing. I think it's hard to play. You can't play that many guys. Somebody's going to have to rise, and it's going to be up to Jay also to be able to figure out when do I stop giving the opportunities out, if you will. And like I like to call it, somebody's going to have to end up being pissed off. Somebody's going to have to be mad because the opportunity is going to dry up there, which is going to give that other guy a chance to run.
You know, Paul Maneri was had the reputation as a tinkerer. Yeah. Right? Like, he would use a lot of that early season to mix and match and try and taste and sample and all that stuff until he found his lineup. Like, when do you remember, like, there being a point where, and by the way, the guys who played for Skip would always say, Skip used the fall to make those decisions. And when the season started in February, he had his lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the earlier you can make that decision, the better. Sometimes that organically happens, right? If you go back to the last championship, I think everybody in the crowd knew, well, Dylan's in there. Yeah. Well, Gavin's in there. Well, Jordan Thompson's in there. Well, Trey's in there. There was literally like 5 or 6 guys where you knew, hell or high water, they're playing. Yeah, they're not coming out.
Here's a Sharpie. Yeah. Just like
we just go ahead and find them in there. We may move them around, but they're in there.
Yeah, every day.
Right? Yeah. And I think some of those things organically happen. Yeah, Tommy White. Like, how do I forget that?
You forgot the guy who led the nation in RBI.
Forgetting that. Like, that's 6 guys. So we already knew 6 of those guys, they're in there, right?
Yeah.
Those things kind of, you can't count on that happening. You don't know when it's going to happen. I do think the earlier you can figure it out, the better, right? We'll see. They brought in a lot of guys. They got a lot of talent. They got a lot of turnover. I think what's going to be key for them this year, honestly, like truly as an offense, is to be able to get those guys who's going to hit directly in front of Bear and directly behind Bear to get off to fast starts. Like, I just do. Like, you got to remember, like, when you come into a school like LSU who plays in front of the crowd like we play and gets the immense pressure that they get, everybody wants to come in, and whether they want to admit it or not, you kind of want to show that you're the man. Well, the man's back, right? Yes. And he's the biggest one in the clubhouse, and he's the guy that everybody looks at and says, hey, circle him. He's the problem. We don't want to have to pitch to him. So if you're able to get those guys right in front of him and right behind them early on to actually show that they're going to produce, that eases up his job a lot. And I think if you're able to get power production out of the middle of those guys, the lineup can really go at that point.
Okay, so I'm so glad you went there, because as we've had these conversations, that's been the biggest. They got enough talent, man. Yeah. They're going to find 9 guys that can go. Yeah. Like, I don't really doubt that. They probably got more than that.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, number one, where do you hit Bear? Do you hit him 3rd or 4th?
Yeah.
And does he have protection in the lineup? The example that I've given a bunch, I know people are tired of hearing me say this, I've said it so much, but it's like you go back to the 23 team, and it was like Tommy White was there protecting Dillon.
Yeah.
And it was like teams had to choose. They'd intentionally walk Dillon to get to the guy who led the nation in RBI. Yeah. Like, that's a problem.
Oh, by the way, he was sandwiched with Trey Morgan in between them, too.
Exactly. It worked.
Yeah.
So who do you think are those guys on this team? Like, how do you bracket him?
That's the thing. We're going to have to figure it out, right? Like, you brought in the transfers. You got the Priester kid. You got the other big kid that can play first. It's probably going to catch, maybe DH a little bit. You're going to have to find those guys early. Now, here's the thing. Like, baseball is a weird thing, man. Those guys have presence, right? So, like, the presence that they get in the box, and you look at them, and they look intimidating. They look what people in baseball like to call hitterish, right? Where you look like you're going to do something damage, right? You get guys like that in there, and early on, you get the feeling like, probably shouldn't make that many mistakes to this guy either. And if those guys start to produce early, that carries them into, because at some point during the year, and this is every year, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. At some point, people look at the numbers, and it doesn't really matter who you are. They feel like you either an out or you're somebody we got to be careful with, right? And so if you can get those guys around him to actually not only become a presence, but start to produce as well, it turns into a different thing, and that's what we're looking for. I look for it to be Dickinson to be able to do his thing early, and it's, hey, is he going to lead off? Is he going to be in the 2? Where is he going to be?
Where would
How
you
are you
start
going to
him?
use him?
Like, if you were right up the
I like him leading off.
Why?
Couple reasons. He has great
I haven't seen him, by the way.
Great bat-to-ball skills. He's got gap-to-gap power, and he can do this, and he's a runner, and he's going to run. And from every indication of what I've heard and from what I've seen this year, because of how they're put together, they're going to run a lot more. And so I like the idea of being able to get him on first, let him use those legs. By the time you get to 3 and 4 with Bear, hopefully he's in scoring position at this point. Okay. And now you don't really want to kind of mess around, and that's why it's so key that whoever's in front of Bear and or behind Bear to understand that you have to produce, right? Because if we get this guy in scoring position and there's bases open, well, if you ain't producing, we ain't got to pitch to Bear.
Yeah.
So, like, those are the situations that you're dealing with, and it becomes a huge chess match.
Like, I'm trying to think of how, like, when he fills out the lineup card, like, are we talking about, like, Braswell and Brown, like, in the bottom third of the line? Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're looking at, that's the thing. I can see a world where Braswell hits 1 or 2 this year for a good part of the year, and I can also see a world where he's sitting in the 9-hole, anchoring it and flipping it and turning it around.
I mean, that was the whole Cole Freeman thing, right?
You can 100% see it.
It's like having Freeman, Kramer go 9-1. It was like back-to-back leadoff hitters, and it just set the table for all your run producers in 17. That was a team that was a breath away from a championship.
Yep.
It's a good problem for Jay Johnson to have, right?
You would rather have that problem than have it the other way around. Let's just tell that the truth.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to come to LSU and you're going to recruit your butt off, it does you well because of what the machine that it is already, and you get a chance more than a lot of other schools to have that problem. Now, when you get that problem, how are you going to manage it? And that's the big thing we're going to have a chance to find out this year.
He's Jared Mitchell, former Tiger great. We're here in Houston, downtown. This place is filled up a little bit. You've been here since we started the show. Like, they opened at 3, and so, I mean, it was empty because they just opened. It's filled up nicely. Got a game night tonight with the Rockets. We'll be over there. You watch the NBA?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
More so towards, obviously, the playoffs of it.
Yeah.
Midseason can get a little shaky these days. You know how it goes.
Oh, dude, I love the Pelicans. It's impossible to watch them. They're so bad.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm excited tonight to see Tari Eason get some run. He sat out the second of a back-to-back a couple nights ago, but I think he's going to play tonight, which would be great. Get to see him go run. And then we get to see KD.
Yeah.
There's nothing like watching the NBA in person.
No, in person is different. That's probably the one. Not even just watching the NBA in person. If you happen to walk by a basketball team in person, I personally think that's the one athlete or prototype of athlete body style where you're like, all right, you don't belong where we are right now. I'll never forget. I remember
We're
one
not
day
from the same planet.
I remember one day back in Baton Rouge, this was a while back, man. He was still playing. I walked into Chipotle, and Tyrus Thomas was in Chipotle, and he's all of 6'12", and everybody in there is nowhere near this. Yeah. And they just stick out so much, man. So, like, to me, that's the one sport where you see them moving in person, and you're like, my goodness, that's different. It really is.
It's a stampede up and down the floor. The NBA is so different. I tell people this all the time, like, pick a night where the Pelicans are playing the Pistons. It's a Tuesday and nobody cares, and you can go on a secondary market, in Game Time or StubHub or something, and go buy some floor seats reasonably and just sit on the floor once.
Yeah, but I said that's the big difference, right? Like, it's if you're in the look, you can have great seats in the stands and you will be like, oh, this looks different. Sit on the floor one time. Sit on the floor one time.
Sit on the floor and just appreciate the size, the speed, the physicality, because it doesn't translate to TV.
Yeah.
It's the sport, and I've never been to do it for hockey, but people say the same thing about hockey. It's a north-south game, but TV shows you a very slow side, east-west, side to side. So I'm excited to get in there tonight. We've got pretty good seats. We're going to go watch the Rockets play the Suns here, part of the LSU Alumni Association. Jared Mitchell, former Tiger great, hanging out with us for a couple of segments. Appreciate the insight, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. Y'all, if people are in the Houston area and they want to get in touch with you about Guarantee Digital Media, what's the best way? Email? What do you
you can find me on email at jared.mitchell@guaranteemedia.com. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn as well. Reach out. It's business, and it's 2025. Everybody uses LinkedIn, or you should at this point. So use it as well. But, yeah, my email's there. Reach out, man. I'd love to do some business. I'd love to talk with you. There's some things we can do that we can, I feel super confident about us giving our complete effort to helping you and being able to do the right things that you need for your business, and not something that's just a blanket for everybody.
Greater Houston area. So all around the Houston area. Jared's living here now. So jared.mitchell@guaranteemedia.com. GUARANTY, guaranteemedia.com. We'll catch him on LinkedIn. We appreciate it, man. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break and roll on a couple segments. Go Otter Locks in about 15 minutes. It's AFR.
AFR.
My buddies over at Duplessis Builders earlier today sent me a review from one of our listeners here on AFR, and I love being able to share things like this. Pretty incredible when you see a 5-star review like this. The Duplessis team is nothing short of amazing. We met 5 different builders, and we couldn't have made a better choice. The quality of their work, materials, and customer service makes them more than worthy of 5 stars. They actually deserve 10 stars. They walked us through the process, made sure we were completely satisfied every step of the way. They did not cut corners. I would recommend Duplessis to anyone looking to have a quality pool. They thought of details that weren't even on our radar to ensure the finished product was perfect. Even though their quote was not the cheapest, it was by far the best for what you will get, and we are overjoyed with Duplessis all the way around. The pool, spa, as well as the concrete turf area are beautiful. Kudos to you, Duplessis. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages, and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-11.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Tiger basketball team has a 1 conference win so far this year. It was against Arkansas, as you know. And tonight, LSU back up in Fayetteville. Bud Walton Arena to take on the Hogs. Matt McMahon on his radio show kind of talked about the difference between Arkansas then and now, and it's very, very notable.
Their personnel's a little bit different, Chris. Boogie Fland, who the first-round pick here, the point guard, who played in our first matchup, has since gone out with season-ending hand surgery. And believe it or not, they've been better since. The other change, Jonas Adu, the All-SEC performer a year ago, actually had a double-double in our first matchup, 12 and 10. He's moved to the bench, and they're playing Vicic. Yep. He's playing heavy minutes now, only played 7 minutes in our first matchup. So that changes some of what you have to do defensively, because while he's 7'2", he's really good as a pick-and-pop threat from behind the three-point line.
It's just not really a surprise what you're going to get with Arkansas, because they look like a John Calipari team. They lean heavily and rely heavily on their guard play, and they're very long and athletic. I mean, that's every John Calipari team everywhere he has ever coached. I mean, go back to Marcus Camby and Edgar Padilla and Carmelo Travieso at UMass. I mean, like, it's the same thing. It's just that's how John Calipari lives. Boogie Fland was the #1 player in the country. He's hurt. He's out. You heard Matt McMahon say it. They've kind of been better because they haven't been trying to force the action maybe so much through Boogie Fland. But we talked about it when they played Arkansas last month. Arkansas was a team that out the chute really struggled, but the talent on that team was undeniable. And that as they continued to play together and figure it out together, they were going to put themselves in position maybe to make a run. And it's also worth noting that when they struggled out the chute, losing their first 5 league games, it was at #1 Tennessee. It was against #23 Ole Miss. It was against #8 Florida. The road loss to LSU was the ugly one. Then they lost at Missouri, but lo and behold, Missouri's actually turned to be a pretty good team. Now they've won 3 of 5, and they're playing much better. So, look, this isn't going to go well for LSU tonight. Tigers are I'm looking at the updated line. They're 9.5. LSU's a 9.5-point dog in this ballgame tonight. Vicic from Arkansas had 27 points last time out in the loss to Bama. I mean, they lost a 4-point game to Bama, the best team in the country, or second best team in the country. You name it. But either way, it's going to be a real challenge for LSU to try to get this one done tonight. Matt McMahon also on his radio show talked about what they'll have to do to win this game tonight at Bud Walton Arena.
And you look back at that first game, our rim protection, best it's been all year, blocked 11 shots. I thought Damian Collins was just fantastic. We won the glass. We held them to 39% from the floor. It'll take another effort along those lines to have an opportunity to win on Wednesday.
It's interesting because Arkansas is sitting there at 14-9 and 3-7 in the league. And so if you look at the bottom of the standings, South Carolina is winless. and then LSU is 1-9 in the league, and then it's Arkansas and Oklahoma both at 3-7. Oklahoma actually beat Arkansas in a close game, beat them by 3. But Arkansas at 3-7. I remember we talked about how they started the season. Their conference schedule was really tough. Well, they have a very manageable finish. So go back to the beginning. All this, I'm getting to a point. This isn't an Arkansas show, but I'm making a point. We talked about LSU at the beginning of the season. They had those first 2 games against Vandy and Missouri where you're like, got to win because the gauntlet was coming. And then it was going to ease up, which is the stretch you're in now before a brutal finish where LSU's not going to win any of their last 5 games. You look at Arkansas, and they have a very manageable finish if they can just keep it within striking distance, which they have at 3-7. Because if they win this one tonight, they go to 4-7 in league play. Then they're at A&M, which is a top 10 team. They're at Auburn, so it's back-to-back games on the road against top 10 opponents. So even if you lose those, if you're Arkansas, you go to 4-9. Then you get home games against Missouri and Texas. Then you're at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt. Let's say you go 3-1 in that stretch. Well, you're a 7-win team coming home to play Mississippi State. If you win that when you get to 8, your net ranking is going to be plenty high enough. You've played yourself onto the bubble. Not in, but you played yourself onto the bubble, and you go to Nashville for the SEC tournament with a chance maybe to win a couple of games and get in the tournament. My point is for Arkansas, they have a lot to play for tonight. Like, this is one on their home floor they got to get if they're going to try to play themselves, dig themselves out of the hole and onto the bubble, which is a very doable thing when you look at what's ahead of them. Not saying it's easy, but it's doable. LSU is not playing for anything. You have an epic collapse at home against Ole Miss where you blow an 11-point lead in the final 3 minutes when your win probability was 98%. And now you got to go on the road to one of the most difficult venues in the league. I mean, Bud Walton seats 20,000 people, and when it's right, it's as tough a venue as there is in the country. When it's right. And it hadn't been right a lot this year because Arkansas hadn't been very good, but when it's right, it's a tough place to play. And I kind of have a feeling that Arkansas, with LSU coming in because they hate LSU and everything, and kind of feeling like, all right, this is the moment. If you're going to make your push, this is where you do it. I think LSU's walking into a little bit of a buzzsaw tonight up there at Bud Walton Arena. So we'll see if the Tigers bounce back after a horrifying loss or if that really knocked them down while you have an Arkansas team that, coming off a close loss against Alabama, has desperately got to get this one at home. So we'll see how it goes tonight with LSU and Arkansas up there at Bud Walton Arena in Fayetteville. Tip tonight for the game is that it's 8 o'clock on ESPN2. It's a late one, but of course you can listen to it on our sister station in Baton Rouge, Eagle 98.1. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should always be First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. You know, our buddy Ben McDonald, the first pick of the draft, when he bought his hunting property in Mississippi, his first call was First South Farm Credit. Remember, first. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. If it's 1,000 acres for agriculture, 100 acres for that hunting property, or 20 acres to build your family's dream home, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com. Again, that's FirstSouthLand.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston. If you're just knocking off work, jumping in the car, it's LSU Alumni Night at the Toyota Center for the Rockets and the Suns. Our friends from the Alumni Association, Joe Carvalhido, and the whole gang, Jared Mitchell, Colin Jeter, who works for the Alumni Association, joined us a bit ago as well. We appreciate them so much and the relationship. Lauren Giffen was with us earlier as well. They invited us to travel and be a part of this great event and help them promote it, and we love the partnership with the Alumni Association. So make sure you learn more about the Alumni Association. Whether you are an LSU alum or not, there's great programs if you love the university, how you can continue to engage to support current students and future students with the LSU Alumni Association. All right, it is After Further Review. Real quick, Jay Johnson met with reporters earlier today. As we mentioned, the rotation is going to go Anderson this weekend, Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, and then Chase Shores. Jay was asked why they made the decision to throw Anderson on Friday.
He's obviously really talented. I think it would have been a hard get to college, had he not got hurt in high school and had that injury. But I think the story is what he did from the end of last season. I mean, he finished the season great, in the postseason, SEC tournament and NCAA tournament. and then really devoted himself in the weight room over the summertime, transformed his body, elevated the pitchability. Coach Eski's done a really good job with him. He's not surprised that pairing of Coach Eski and Cade has gone well.
It's also worth mentioning with Jay talking about Nate Yeskie. Remember, this is the first time since Jay Johnson's been here that he has the same pitching coach in back-to-back years. So I don't think that is insignificant, especially when you have so much turnover there on your staff, right? Losing effectively your entire rotation with Hurd, Jump, and Holman, and then Griffin Herring, who became your best pitcher a year ago. I mean, you had a record number of pitchers drafted last year. So in losing so much talent, so many guys you counted on, having stability there with your pitching coach, I think is a huge benefit. Now, Jay also talked about Einstein and Shores, who will go games 2 and 3, and ultimately how they were able to earn the rotation spots in such a crowded pitching room.
With Anthony, there's a lot to like. Strikes, high-level pitchability, composure. I could feel him smelling the season, so to speak. Like he's operated like a veteran. I think he got done what he needed to get done in the fall, but it just kind of kept going like that. And really happy to have him here, and think he's going to be a really good pitcher for us. And then with Chase, you know, again, I've seen enough strikes and like where the health's at, like how he's gone about his business. I feel like we've had some good improvement here over the last month, and feel like he's ready to go. Yeah, and so,
you know, you look at guys that they brought in who have been starters. Zach Cohen was the frontline guy for Wofford. Jacob Myers, who we're going to have a chance to talk to here on AFR. By the way, shout out our friends at Duplessis Builders, Pools, Outdoor Kitchens, great partners of ours here on AFR. They did an NIL deal with Jacob Myers, a local Sanamaw kid who was down at Nichols, one of the top strikeout pitchers in the country last year. He's got to get the walks down. He also was one of the tops in the country in walks a year ago. So a little feast or famine. But you're talking about guys who have been starters in addition to the guys who we just talked about. And then, you know, Devin Sheeran would have been in that mix as well for Mount St. Mary's, but for the torn ACL. So the fact that, look, somebody had to get the ball in the rotation to start the weekend, right? Like, somebody, he had to pick 3 guys, and this is where they start. And so let's see how that may change. I mean, a year ago it was Thatcher Hurd, and it didn't end up that way. You know, Holman and Jump ended up being your first 2 guys, and by the end of the season, Jump really was your best arm. So it's just the start. It's one of 56 on Friday, but one of the things that I love most about baseball season is baseball season, maybe even more so than any other season, is an evolution. It's not like football where if you lose game 1, you're crippled. You're going to have losses. You're going to have midweek losses. You're going to have series losses. Nobody is immune. But it's an evolution over 56 to find out what you have, who your best guys are, in what roles, in what order in the lineup, and then see if you can put yourself in a position to play postseason ball at the box and be in as advantageous a position as you can to go play your best ball for 2 weeks in Omaha in June and maybe win a championship. It's why it's different than in any other sport. That's why I love it, and love it differently than any other sport. It all gets started on Friday for the Tigers out at the box. Now, Jay was on Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob this morning. He'll do that interview weekly again this year, I believe on Wednesdays. But we are expecting rain. It's supposed to be a deluge Saturday in Baton Rouge. So Jay did mention the possibility of a doubleheader Friday. Again, to be very clear, that is not set. That's not settled. That's not announced. It's none of those things. He just mentioned it as a possibility that if they decide that they're not going to be able to play Saturday, maybe the best option might be doubleheader on Friday. So just file that away. That's where we might get. We're going to keep an eye on the forecast and see what it does here over the next 24 hours or so, and they'll make a decision. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Our Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Again, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. We got one segment to go here from downtown Houston at Tom's Watch Bar. Really cool place, man. This place filled up. You can tell, especially, I mean, there's a game 2 blocks away from here. So a lot of people coming in with their Rocket stuff on, pre-gaming here before they go over to the arena, which we're going to do as well. So we're looking forward to that. Let's knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
Hey, we're brought to you by Rouse's. If you're going to be at home tonight, or maybe you're going to some type of party, Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. They got everything you need. It's carnival season right around the bend. They're still slinging king cakes left and right. You can go pick out your favorite filled king cake, or like I like the traditional cinnamon king cake, because let's be honest, if it has filling in it, it's not really a king cake. Then it's like a filled donut or a cinnamon roll or anything like that. A king cake is what it is. We don't need to get into that argument. It's more about what your taste buds like. You can find your favorite at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. They can ship your king cake anywhere in the lower 48. Also, crawfish are back. You want crawfish, meat, or with meat potatoes, corn and potatoes. Don't worry, I'm rusty. We're getting back into the flow of crawfish season. Rouse's, they're in-house boilers every single day, boiling crawfish. They've already got it boiled, bagged, and tagged. You walk in, you grab, and you go. It's Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's
Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on this Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. One thing left to do, find out we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how we doing?
Doing okay, Matt. How about you?
Doing awesome. Downtown Houston today, LSU alumni event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. Going to pop over to Toyota Center, watch the Rockets and the Suns, get to watch Tari Eason, KD. Should be a good night, man.
Yeah, is Sengun back in the lineup tonight? He went down like the first quarter on Super Bowl Sunday. He's been their guy, man.
I don't know if you know this, Otter. I'm not
exactly.
exactly your Houston Rockets info guy.
Well, I'm
Not
just
my
going to tell
strong
you,
suit.
he did go down. He did go down with an injury, and I'm just in check RotoWire.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to bet the NBA regular season and with that concept. But we did have a little action on them on Sunday, and they won but did not cover there late. But they've been fun to watch, really, really fun. Tari Eason is in the mix, man. He is in big games, close games. He's on the court, man. You know, in crunch time. So it's fun to watch. It's a fun, young, and up-and-coming team. So just like the Pelicans and the Saints, you know. So, anyway.
Get to the picks, man. Why are you patronizing me? Get to the picks.
Hey, how about last night? 3-3, but first half line 6-0. So anyway, hedge opportunities you had. We're at 34-32 St. John's in Villanova. Nova was up 10. We put this one out on the website earlier. In game right now at DraftKings is -1.5. So I would suggest, fine. If you didn't get on it, on it early, get in on it now. So very good game with under 30 seconds to go in the Big East. Also, we're going to take advantage of this money line in the SEC tonight. Ole Miss on the road at South Carolina. South Carolina, that doesn't have a win. We know that in conference play. They have played some teams really tough at home. I just think that Ole Miss needs this game. Pretty kind of badly. And I think they're going to take care of business on the road here. So -3.5 Ole Miss at South Carolina at a 6 o'clock tip. Then the 8 o'clock tip in the other half of the SEC doubleheader tonight. LSU has been a bit of an exhale spot on the schedule for opponents this year. Not tonight. Arkansas, of course, LSU's only win was against Arkansas in the Maravich Assembly Center. Rare revenge spot for an LSU opponent this year. Arkansas has been playing tougher defense. They have covered their last three. Arkansas -9 against LSU.
All right, so 3 plays tonight. St. John's, Ole Miss, and Arkansas are your 3 plays for Autolocks tonight. Where are you tomorrow?
Beat that wood. You still calling us Kansas? Gotta beat that wood.
We got that wood.
We are at the,
Oh, my God.
the original walk-on.
What a time to be alive. All right, original walk-ons for Live at Lunch. Catch Charlie and Jimmy 11 to 1 tomorrow. Thank you, Otter.
Good luck.
All right, man. We'll see you. We're brought to you by Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Get your reservations there. SupperClubBTR.com. Oh, my goodness. I'm dreaming right now of the veal parmesan. Oh, you can go get the best steak of your life. You can get lamb chops. You can get exquisite sea bass. So many amazing options, but I'm dreaming of that veal parm right now, where they bring the giant veal cutlet to your table, and then the cheese and the sauce is all in the skillet, the black cast iron skillet. They come and lay it over the cutlet at the chop at your table. The presentation, taste, the flavor. Supper Club. I might drive back tonight just to go to Supper Club. Not really. I'm 4 hours away. SupperClubBTR.com. Get your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Muse Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law